Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Josh. I have with me Nick and Jack, which were actually people in the first episode. So, welcome back, y'all.
It's good to be back.
And today's episode, well, we're going to start off with TV shows. Now, this could be TV shows that we like, dislike. Could be a debate on which shows are better than others. Nick, why don't you go ahead and go first? What TV show is like your main favorite?
Man, that is a tough one. Like of all time, my favorite TV show?
Yeah.
Man, okay, so it's not even anything live action. It's got to be King of the Hill. That's my favorite TV show of all time. I could watch that show over and over.
Bro, I love King of the Hill. That shit is so good.
It's so good.
I love that show.
I grew up with it. I would watch it, whenever Cartoon Network would be over and Adult Swim would come on, I'd watch it. And I just love it so much. It's so funny.
I know. I love Hank's voice. How he's just like, oh, damn it, mommy. I love that shit. It's so good.
Yes, it's so iconic.
It's accurate too.
Yes.
Really accurate.
It's very accurate. If you're from, we're not from Texas, but
We live in.
if you've been around, people around that area, a lot of people in that show are like people you've met in real life.
Yeah. Is Arlen even a real town, or is that just for the show?
I think it's real.
I think it's real. I
don't
think
see why it
now.
wouldn't be.
I think the county they're in isn't real, but I think Arlen is real. I think. I'm not too sure.
I don't know, but
Hamlet County, I think, is fake.
I know that the shenanigans they get up to in that show, that's definitely something that Texans would get into. No offense to you Texans, but that show is
Yeah.
definitely something that that would happen in y'all's
Yeah.
state.
My favorite character has got to be Buck Strickland, Hank's boss. He's so funny, and I like the episode with the son too. That was pretty cool when he met his son.
I love what's his name? Dale.
Dale.
I like
That's
Dale, yeah.
that's the bug killer, right?
yeah,
Neighbor?
Dale's
Yes.
dead bug.
I love the fact that his wife is cheating on him and has a kid with a whole nother dude, and he doesn't even know. Like he's so clueless about everything.
I like the theory that I know all about the show's theories. I'm so deep into it. I think that he really does know, and he just doesn't care because he wants to keep her happy. So he just come on. How would you not know? Your kid's literally Native American.
I don't know. Maybe she told him, "Oh, I had Native American family members," and I guess he believed it.
I think the joke was like he thought someone in his one episode he thought Joseph was an alien, and then another one he was like convinced that Joseph looked like that was because he had like a Jamaican relative somewhere down the line, back with the ancestry and all that. But I think that was fake too. That's just what she told him to make him feel better.
Dale is pretty stupid. So
Yeah, that's true.
all right. Well, Jack,
Yes.
I pretty much know what you're gonna say, but enlighten the audience. What's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show is well, it's obviously Sesame Street. No, no, I like that one, but no, my favorite TV show is definitely, without a doubt, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have been a fan since I was 17, 2019. I actually watched the parts out of order. I started with 4. No, wait. I started with 4, then I went to 5, then I went to 3, then I went to 2, then 1. No, 1, then 2, then 6, and then I read the other ones, and then, of course, I watched 6 when it came out, and then I'm reading 9 right now. But I love it. It's not just my favorite show. I'd say it's probably my favorite thing ever. It's pretty much all I think about, all I talk about. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much I can say about it. I don't know how much time I can fit all of my ramblings into, but I definitely have a lot I would want to say about it.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me about JoJo once,
Yeah.
and you talked about it so much that I'm sure you audience members have a moment like this where you just hear about something so much, it's so overhyped that you don't even want to give it the time of day because it's almost like it's being shoved in your face.
And then you watched it and then you liked it.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
No, you're welcome.
But for real, this kid would non-stop talk about this bullshit and eventually stopped talking about it. and I was like, all right, it's been enough time. I'll go ahead and give it a chance, and I did, and I actually really enjoyed it. And my favorite part for you audience members that actually do like JoJo, my favorite is part 1 because it's a perfect story. It has a beginning, middle, and end, and it's only 9 episodes, like 23 minutes each, and each episode is so important. Like there's no filler in part 1 at all. Every episode is important for the plot moving forward, and the ending is really sad. Spoilers, but the main character, Jonathan Joestar, he does end up dying, and he sinks on the boat that he's in. But of course, Dio, again, spoilers, takes his body and uses it in part 3, obviously.
What's weird is I heard some people, I saw someone critique part 3, and they said that they didn't like Dio coming back. I think that was, I don't know, I like the fact that Dio came back. It makes sense. Like, I mean, it's not all that impossible that Dio wouldn't have been able to come back considering what happened. It's like, to me, it just doesn't seem realistic that they would have wrote off Dio completely after part 1. You know, he's too much of a presence. It's not that his time in part 1 was short, as a threat was short. It was there, but I mean, it's definitely going to come back in one way or another. And it really did. I mean, in part 3 afterwards, he continued to have his presence kind of loom over everything, like with part 4, with the arrows, part 5, I guess with Giorno, and then part 6, you know, Pucci, their relationship definitely allowed his legacy to continue despite him, you know, dying.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, the way he dies in part 3 is, honestly, I laugh at it sometimes because he literally just explodes.
Well, because, okay, I've been thinking about how, when I first watched it, I didn't really question it, but lately I was like, you know, how did Jotaro actually defeat Dio? You know, was it one of those instances where the main character wins just because of the main character? And if you think about it, I don't think people would, maybe some people notice this, but okay, there's a scene where Jotaro kicks Dio in the leg, and Dio's injured right after that. That's the same leg he used to kick, or attempt to kick Jotaro with. So when Jotaro punches his leg, and it cracks, and he's like, ah! That was the same leg. That's why it happened, because he was already injured in that leg. So by the time he got punched, it just, you know, added more damage to that and allowed him to die. And I mean, like, I don't know, his body being cracked, you know, that's just, I guess, for effect. But I guess it kind of makes sense, because I don't know. His body's fucking weak. I don't really think much about it, but I do like that. Honestly, when I read the manga to compare it, the manga it utilizes, like, I think a full spread, but it's not like a full page. It uses multiple panels, unlike how some manga will use like a full page to represent something. But I mean, I still think it did a good job. It was just different to me, because usually when I read manga and there's like a really important moment, it would be like one panel taking up an entire page, which I really like. But I really loved the ending of part 3, and it was gonna end there at part 3, but they kept it going afterwards because Araki, you know, just, I think it's because he realized it can make money or was profitable and it was popular. I think that's how it was. I'm not too sure, but I think that's what ended up happening. That's why it continued after part 4, 5, and 6. I think the source is like the Italian translation of one of the spin-off stories called what was it? Genesis of the Universe, and the Italian translation has like a forward about I don't know, we call it forward or prologue, something like that, like an explanation of stuff to explain the backgrounds of everything. And it explains like the history of JoJo, and it mentions that. So I think that's the source. But then again, that's a translation, so it had to be in the Japanese version. So I think that's how it went. I'm pretty sure that's why I continued after part 3.
Yeah, and I can tell that Nick is having a little bit of a hard time understanding. It's like we're speaking a whole nother language here.
Yeah. I'm just, I mean, that was a whole lot of nothing being said in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, for context, me and Jack are the only JoJo watchers here. Nick knows literally nothing about JoJo.
I've never seen a second of JoJo. I don't even watch anime.
I used to.
You watched like Demon Slayer, I think, didn't you?
Yeah,
and you watched Dragon Ball. And you watched One Piece.
I did watch Demon Slayer for a little bit. I watched like the first like half of the first season, and then I stopped watching it because I just could not get into it.
You watch One Piece?
I don't know what it is. I
You watched
like 3 episodes of One Piece.
Didn't you literally watch it so you could impress like a girl with your knowledge?
No. It wasn't to impress a girl with the knowledge. It's because she watched it, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it too, because why not? And I liked it at first, but I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just anime itself as like a medium I can't get into, or if it's the show itself, or I don't know what it was, but I just did not like it.
What about One
Like the
Piece? I
second
thought you
half.
watched One Piece.
I saw a few episodes of One Piece, but I'm not like one of those crazy fans who can cite it and dress up as them for Halloween, and
I like
they've seen every like 3,000 episodes. Like I only saw maybe like 3 or 4 episodes of it, and then I quit because I was like, dude, I can't watch this whole thing. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, and they're also making a live action One Piece show.
I kind of want
For
to see that.
Netflix.
I'll probably check that out, but the effects kind of look like shit.
They do, and I'm not gonna lie, seeing One Piece, I guess costumes you could say, on actual people is a little goofy to me.
It's weird. That's the point. It's like it's the show in real life now.
Oh, is there like a trailer already out for it?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
trailer for it.
Oh, shit.
Came out today, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to show you after we do this episode. But like it's actually it's an okay trailer, I guess you could say, but I mean, the show itself looks like it'll be all right, but again, like I said, like actual like anime costumes being on people, it's a little goofy. Like it really is.
I don't know. One Piece has some silliness to it, but I mean, you just gotta it's suspension of disbelief. Like if you can, I mean, think about this. If you can watch like a superhero movie, I'm pretty sure you can watch a anime movie
Good
without any
point.
problems.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Especially Spider-Man. That guy's goofy. I like Spider-Man, but like, I mean, looking at his costume and stuff, like, it's like the same thing, like I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's anime and people aren't used to seeing anime in live action.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe they hold it
apparently
up to a higher standard.
Yeah, apparently they're also thinking about doing a live action Dragon Ball again because I know they did a movie
Yeah, they did.
years
I forgot
back.
about that.
It's called Dragon Ball Evolution. It was one of the worst movies of all time. But
There's,
but apparently like they're thinking about doing actual movies where they kind of like stick to the source material and they actually have like Vegeta and Piccolo and all of them like have
probably watch
actual.
that.
Yeah, I would too, honestly, because you also got to think Goku's hair is kind of goofy, so I wonder exactly how they would do that in live action. If it would just be like regular hair, or if they would try to style it in the way Goku does it in the show.
in I don't know what country. It was an Asian country. I don't know. It wasn't Japan. It was another one. There were these knockoff movies. I know there was like a Chinese animated one that was a knockoff of Dragon Ball. And then there was another knockoff one that wasn't from China, from somewhere else, I think. And that was a knockoff of Dragon Ball as well, but actually, no, it wasn't a knockoff. It was an unofficial adaptation because they still used Goku, Puar, Oolong, Bulma, everybody, but they changed some of their names. Like Gohan, remember his grandfather? He doesn't die in this version. He gets kidnapped by like the Pilaf gang, and they named him like Mr. Sparkle or something. I don't know. They gave him a really weird fucking name. They didn't just call him Gohan. They gave him this really different name, and everyone else I think said the same. But
That is goofy.
it looked cheap. The effects were weird. It looked. I don't know. It looks bad. Obviously.
Well, I know that I was saying that, like, I like JoJo as well, but I gotta say, I think probably my favorite TV show. This is actually a really hard one. I want to say it's probably the Loki TV show.
I've never seen that.
That came out, I want to say 2 years ago. They're coming out with a season 2 later this year. Yes, it's Marvel. I see y'all looking
I was
at
about
me.
to say,
but
am I surprised?
yes, but it's actually a really good story. It picks up sort of like right after Avengers Endgame. I don't know if y'all fully saw that.
I didn't see Endgame. I only saw Infinity War.
Oh, well, in Endgame, there's a moment where they go back in time to 2012 to the first Avengers movie, and they accidentally mess up the timeline by like knocking the cube, the tesseract, out of a briefcase, and it lands in front of Loki. This didn't happen in the original timeline. This is like a new timeline. So Loki like grabs it and disappears with it, and it picks up literally right after that moment, and he gets captured by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and he finds out that like Lokis are a big threat to the multiverse and stuff because they always mess up the timeline. And there's actually a version of Loki that is messing up the timeline as we speak. And so it's actually a female Loki, and her name is Sylvie. And a lot of people have this debate on whether or not it's selfish to fall in love with yourself, because like he actually does fall in love with the female version of himself.
I think it is.
Is it? Do you think so?
Yeah, that's narcissistic. It's like
I wouldn't say
masturbating
so.
to yourself.
Why wouldn't you say
I
so?
wouldn't. I mean, it's not you. It's a girl you.
But
it's
is
different.
you. It's
no,
you
no, no.
just as a girl.
No. The girl you has a different personality and a different, wants.
No.
And
If it's the girl you, it's you, but as a girl, you'd have the same personality.
no, it's a different person. It's like a clone. A clone isn't the same person.
We're gonna have the same brain, same heart, same soul. I mean, we're gonna think the same.
You're not gonna have the same soul, and
You-
definitely not the same brain.
We're gonna have the same brain like structure and stuff.
Well, yeah,
Like if
but
let's say, okay, for instance, let's say like Josh, you're autistic. Would your female version of yourself be autistic?
I mean, maybe.
okay,
Probably.
Yes,
female
it's you.
female Josh would be autistic, yeah, but they wouldn't be the same person.
Yes, they would.
No, they
It's
wouldn't.
Josh, but he'd just be a
You-
girl. So you'd have, yes.
But what? Josh brushes his teeth, goes to work, and works a full shift. What does female Josh do during
I don't
the
know.
day? Not the same thing.
No,
They have different memories, different lives.
Yeah, they have different lives, but they still have the same brain.
No.
Like Josh, he likes Marvel. Female Josh will like Marvel.
What
Whatever
if she?
Josh,
What if she doesn't?
whatever Josh doesn't like, female Josh will not like, and vice versa.
No.
Yes, I think yeah. I think
Wrong.
I don't know. Yeah,
It's
we're digging
you.
a big hole here.
It's you. If it's you, then the other one's gonna be just like you, but the different gender. That's all it is.
No.
Yeah.
A different person.
We really are digging ourselves a really big hole
I
here,
know.
because like, if you think about it, a clone of yourself like is you, but it could not be you if it just does different things. I mean, I don't know. That's a huge debate on whether or not like it would be narcissistic or not to date yourself, because I
think it
mean,
would.
in the show they call it out. They're like Mobius, Owen Wilson. He plays as a guy named Mobius. He tells Loki, "You fell in love with a version of yourself. That's narcissistic." And then Loki tries to deny it, and it's like, "No, she's different." But I mean, a lot of the fans are having this big debate on whether or not it is narcissistic. And I mean, I guess you could say it is, but you could also say it isn't. I guess it really just depends. It's a really, really deep subject.
I think it is.
But like I was saying, like the Loki TV show, it really is a good show, because I mean, there's mystery to it. It's like an actual whodunit type thing. I mean, they know who done it, but like they're trying to figure out which version of Loki done it. And then when they finally figured it out, it's like a big shock. Like, oh my God, that's actually a whole different version of Loki. It's not just Tom Hiddleston playing two different versions of himself. And the ending is like jaw dropping, because I mean, at the end they kill He Who Remains, which is a version of Kang the Conqueror. And because they killed him, the timeline then starts to get fucked up. And yeah, and that's why there's a whole multiverse thing in Marvel right now, is because of the Loki TV show. So yeah, I mean, it was a really good ending. I cannot wait for season 2 this year. Also, Secret Invasion is coming, which it doesn't really interest me all that much. I mean, Marvel itself now is just, it's kind of whatever at this point. I mean, they had a few good projects, like WandaVision was pretty good. Loki was really good. Moon Knight was really good. Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't really that great. It wasn't anything to go crying home about. Shang-Chi was okay. A lot of people, dude, that movie is overhyped as fuck.
Why?
Like, for real. Because, I mean, the fight scenes are good. Yes. They are good. But, like, the story itself is bland. The CGI is actually garbage.
The Flash had some. I know it's not Marvel, but it had some bad CGI.
Yes,
too.
it did. Like anybody who has seen The Flash, you know what I'm talking about. PS2 graphics for real. Like it is actual garbage. Like when he ends up in that time place, whatever it's called, where he's in that giant bubble and he can like change certain things about the timeline. I mean, that shit, it's garbage. Like, and apparently the directors tried to say, "Oh, well, it was done on purpose because it's a gap in space time, so it's the people aren't supposed to look, the greatest." And I'm
You're
like,
right.
"No, you can't just justify terrible CGI as part of the story. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's you can't like."
Unless they actually intended that to be it, but that's not it. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, they spent what was it, like 220 million dollars on the movie? I mean, there's no way that they can justify the CGI being that terrible.
Like, it'd be more believable if they're like, oh, they're in another dimension or another universe. Yeah, where they look weird. I could believe that because they're in another thing. People look different. That makes sense. They're from another planet. I don't know, something like that. But they're in a gap in time like that. I don't know, a gap in time. I don't think that would. I mean, maybe we're looking too deep into it because it's like the science of a comic book movie. It's not gonna really matter a lot. But I don't know. It does sound like a excuse to cover up the bad CGI rather than a legitimate detail within the story.
I don't know, Nick, what do you think? Like, can you really justify terrible CGI as it being an intentional thing? I mean, for real?
Okay, I was thinking about this actually today. I can think of one instance where terrible CGI was justified. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie was a deliberate fucking marketing ploy to get people to see that movie.
This thing, I know what he's talking about.
It's true. It's so true. Okay, are you telling me that they really pumped out the ugly Sonic thing, and then everyone was like, "Oh, it's terrible," and then they not only changed the trailer of that with the new Sonic design, but they changed the entire movie. Think about how much money that is. Think about how much money went into the original idea with the quote-unquote ugly Sonic design, and then they redid the entire movie with the new Sonic and redid the marketing. No, what they did was they did the movie with the supposed to be the redesign. That was the original design all along. They did that movie, and they were like, "Hey, let's get more people to see this movie and make a fake trailer with an ugly Sonic, and then make people, generate more hype by having people get mad and be like, oh yeah, we care about the fans." And then make the new trailer and be like, "See, look, we changed. We care about the fans." And that makes more people come see the movie because they think they've reestablished their trust with, who was it, Paramount?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paramount.
With Paramount.
Uh,
So yeah, I think it was all a hoax to get more people to see the movie.
I guess I could believe you on that one. It sounds like something a movie studio would do because, I mean, movies...
Been thinking that since day one.
Yeah, movie studios, I mean, they've been sort of shady and, like, hiding stuff from the beginning, like, since movies were created.
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, that does seem believable, but at the same time, it also, like, I mean, there are movies with terrible CGI and it wasn't changed. Even if fans, like, cried out, "Hey, this movie actually looks like garbage," and the studio had the chance to delay it and then put more money in to fix it for the fans, like the Cats movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, bruh. Apparently, there is a whole different cut of that movie where it's just the regular movie, like what you've seen, but the cats have buttholes.
Is that true?
Yes, it actually is true. Like, the studio has confirmed that they did have a version of the movie where the cats had buttholes. And, like, fans even cried out, "Hey, the CGI looks terrible. You should, like, delay the movie and fix it. Like, we will wait." And they didn't. And so, I mean, I guess I could believe you, but at the same time, there have also been chances for studios to do it in the past, and they didn't. So I guess Paramount really did take the chance. But I do see what you mean.
Well, with this one, though, is this one was completely intentional. It wasn't like, oh, we did it bad, because a lot of this it boils down to the animators and the artists who have to work on these movies not given enough time and having to crunch it, but such a limited. I'm guessing they have a limited budget for what the artist can do.
Yeah.
They have a set amount of time, and they got to crank that out. That's why so many movies now look like shit. Like, the Marvel movies get worse and worse.
Yes, they
because
do.
Disney does not treat their workers and the artists with respect, and they make them crank out these shitty looking movies. And then Paramount does like this stunt to be like, oh, we're following this trend. Just kidding. No, we made this good movie, and we're gonna get you to see it because we care. Because we're not like the other studios, so it makes them look good. Gives them double the money they were gonna make off the Sonic fans. Like, think about how much money you're pissing away with making one movie and then redoing it again.
Well, think
with
about
a whole
it.
new character. It's not like it was a 5-minute scene. It was the entire movie.
Do you think they made the entire movie like that, or do you think they just got the clips necessary?
Just
for
the trailer. Just the trailer had Ugly Sonic.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie had that whole redesign all along.
I guess I could believe it. I mean, yeah, it does make sense, but at the same time, it's almost like it'll remain unknown whether or
I don't
not
think
they
I don't
did
think
it.
they'll ever reveal it, but I'm sticking with my gut on this one and saying that they
I think it's
did it
because
on purpose.
no one cares enough, and I don't think anyone's gonna look into it because the problem was solved. They changed the design, so now no one has a reason to really, consider that maybe it was like that all along.
Yeah, that's true as well. Again, I can see where Nick is coming from because it does sound like something a movie studio would do. Like, hey, we're actually terrible people. We're going to make the design look bad. And then fans cry out saying, we're going to boycott the movie if he actually looks like this. And then the studio kind of like does a little smirk and they're like, oh, we know. And so they change the whole movie to appeal to even more people besides the Sonic fans. Yeah. But what did you guys think of Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik?
I liked it.
I thought he was okay. I thought he was pretty funny. I knew he wasn't gonna do the whole, bald look, at least in the first one. I didn't see the second one, but didn't he go bald while he was in that little planet or whatever he was?
He shaved his head.
I knew in the first one they weren't gonna do that because, it's like a whole new look. Even Sonic isn't 1-to-1 because he doesn't have the connected eyeballs like he does in the games.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Where it's like connected and his nose
Also,
is
his arms
connected.
are blue.
And he's a lot more slender. He kind of has that old game design where he was like kind of short and fat.
Yeah. But you guys saw the Chip and Dale movie with Ugly Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
What was he actually funny in that movie?
I didn't find it funny.
They did the joke for too
I
long.
kind of like the reference, but I didn't really find it funny.
They kept it going. I wish it was like a little cameo or something, but he shows up in a scene, talks for like 3 minutes about how ugly he is and how everybody changed his look because they hated it, and then he shows up at the end as he was like he's like riding around with the police doing like these raids or something, and he shows up again on this helicopter. But I don't know. I didn't see the full thing. I just saw little bits here and there, but I don't really like the Chip and Dale movie.
Me neither.
I did like the part where Roger Rabbit showed up, but that was it.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I didn't see the full movie. I saw a bunch of different cameos because I saw the Roger Rabbit thing, which I really liked, and I saw Ugly Sonic. I didn't see the full thing. I only saw like the little clip of him talking to Chip and Dale. And honestly, I gotta say, the fact that they made it a plot point that you could change your look to a CGI look instead of a cartoon look, I thought that was a little weird.
What I hated the most was, and I've seen a lot of people say it, but how it wasn't actually 2D animation. It was 3D animation, and then they would fuck with they would put they filtered, fuck with the rendering or something, where they would drop the frames on it and just colored over it, made it look like it was 2D, but it was actually a 3D render that looked like a 2D character, but it wasn't.
I don't like that.
It's
either.
like a cutting corners. Instead of just, they don't even have to hand draw it. They could have just digitally fucking drawn it,
Yeah.
like they did for some of the, like I think, what's his name, from Paul Abdul, the music video. Two Steps Forward. What's his name?
Scat Cat.
MC Scat Cat. He was in the movie and he looks pretty good, but other than that, all the other characters look bad. He was the
Yeah.
only good cameo. Well, only good looking cameo.
Yeah. All right. So what kind of sitcoms are y'all into?
Sitcoms aren't really my thing. I used to like them as a kid, but now that I'm older, they're really cheesy.
Especially the fucking Disney ones. Oh
Yes.
my god, the Disney Channel sitcoms.
When you reach late teens and then adulthood, those things just aren't appealing. at all.
I know. Plus,
Like-
they had like 30-year-olds playing teenagers.
Did they?
Well, I know that all of them were really old. I mean, one of the oldest ones was like 27 playing like an 18-year-old. I mean, come on. Why? I mean, that's like with Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He was 27 when he played, what, a 17-year-old?
I think
so.
16 or 17.
Oh my God. Like, and he looked like he was 27. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't, it wasn't one of those things where it's like Tom Holland, where he can play at least a late high schooler now. Because he does look a little bit older. So I think he could play probably a maybe 18, 19-year-old, and he's like 25, 26 now. I mean, that works. But, I mean, with Tobey Maguire, if you watch the movie, he actually looks his age. He actually does look like he is 27. And so do all the other cast members. I mean, all the high schoolers are like in their mid to late 20s. And their teacher is the same age as them. And they look like they're the same age as their teacher. I mean, it's so goofy. Like, I don't understand how you let that happen. I mean, yeah, Tobey Maguire is a good Spider-Man, but I think it would have been better if they just maybe established that Spider-Man as being out of high school, maybe in college, because then it would make more sense by the way
Yeah.
he looks.
I mean, you wanna be like Good Burger. They they did that shit right. They fucking they had Keenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell. I think they were like early like early adulthood, like 18, something like that. Even then, they didn't look too old. Like, you don't look too old in your early 20s. So even if they were in their 20s, they looked pretty young. They still looked like high schoolers.
Yeah, they did, and that worked. And that's also a really good movie.
It is.
Everyone, if you have not seen Good Burger, you need to go watch it.
that.
Yes, it's
love it.
such a
It's free
good
on
movie.
YouTube with ads. It's free on YouTube.
Yes, it is free on YouTube with ads. Nickelodeon sponsors? No, not really, but
Just use ad blocker like I do, so you don't have to watch ads while you watch a movie.
yes,
Turn off that pesky ad block.
dude. Seriously, like Good Burger is a really good movie, and didn't it literally start with like a skit they did?
Yes, on all of that, they had a skit. And
Yeah, that's where it started from. They did the Good Burger skit, but I don't know if Keenan was. It was always Kel doing Ed at the counter, and then Keenan would play a bunch of other characters on it. And then when Good Burger came around, he was his own character, Dexter, and Ed and Kel was still Ed, and they still reprised their Dexter and Ed roles to this day because they're making the sequel.
And then Dan
Good Burger
Schneider
sequel.
was in it.
I hope
He was-
Sinbad's in the Good Burger too.
I know.
If he doesn't show up in there, I'm gonna be very
One
upset.
thing I hope is that I never see Dan Schneider's face in a film or a writing and producing credit ever again, because the shit that he put people through on his shows, like
Yeah.
iCarly and Victorious, I mean, that's inexcusable.
That's a good topic we could segue into iCarly and Dan Schneider affiliated shows like that.
Yes,
Victorious.
like it's inexcusable what he did to those children.
Yeah.
I mean, he was absolutely horrendous to them. Like I think the cast members for Victorious, they literally came forward and said that Dan Schneider had them drunk a bunch of times.
No fucking way.
Yeah, he did. He had them drunk a bunch of times, and they don't even remember filming most episodes because they were like high or drunk. And Dan Schneider would they don't remember it, but apparently Dan Schneider would put his hands on them. Maybe
Well-
I don't know if I'm going too far with it, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that Dan Schneider did that. And that's just, it's inexcusable. You cannot come back from that. And I
Yeah.
think that's why he got fired from Nickelodeon. Well, did he get fired or did he leave?
I think he left. I don't think he got fired.
Because I think a bunch of allegations came up against him. I think he just decided, yeah, fuck
Yeah,
that.
he just
and-
left.
Yeah,
He's
he
like, I'm
just,
fucked. I gotta go.
that's like, what was that president? Nixon?
Bill
Uh,
Clinton, right?
Well, yeah. No.
Who resigned?
Nixon. He was the only president to do so because
Yes.
Andrew Johnson was the first to be impeached. Then Bill Clinton was impeached, and then Nixon. They were going to impeach him, and I think it was either right before or during the impeachment trials. He was like, "No, I'm out," and then he hopped in Air Force One and flew away. Gave us the double deuce.
Yeah, Dan, if you're listening to this, fuck you. But seriously,
I
like,
doubt he's listening to us. But
yeah, I
Um,
know, I know.
Yeah, I grew up watching those. My favorite was always iCarly, just because of how weird it was and
I
how
liked
funny it
iCarly.
was.
I love
like all
Spencer,
the
man.
characters. I like Freddy. His mom was pretty funny. Gibby, Gibby. How could you not love Gibby?
Spencer is cool.
By the way, I
Sam
did see the new iCarly show,
Is it good?
and
Do you like it?
I gotta say it's not as good as the original. But
Is it a good reboot?
Well, you could say it's like a reboot, or I
Like a
don't really know
continuation?
because it is a continuation of the old show. It's just it's called the same name, like it's called iCarly, and I mean, you can say that they did a little too much with the adult jokes, but I actually think it's kind of perfect because I mean, think about it. They're in their 20s,
Yeah.
and it matches the story.
People said they overdid it.
Yeah, people say they overdid it, and they were like, "Oh, you took away from what was originally good about iCarly," and it's like, no, iCarly was always a little out there.
Yeah.
With
Wait, wasn't there an episode where that old lady with the glasses? She was like their teacher, assistant principal. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know
don't
what you're
know her
talking about.
name, but she was really into that dude that was on American Idol. What was his name?
oh, I don't remember.
Big dude with the glasses. I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about though.
But that was like that episode. She was like obsessed with him. Anyways, but there was that one episode where they were like talking about her pointy boobs. That
Yeah, I do remember
That
that.
kind of pushed the envelope for what you could say.
Yeah.
Because it was a teen show. It wasn't. I mean, it was a kid show, but it was for older kids.
Also, you could definitely tell when Dan Schneider was involved with a show because the characters would always make it a plot point to talk about feet or do something feet related.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Dan Schneider had the biggest foot fetish.
Oh man, like the one, like, when you go back and watch it, you really don't think about that when you were watching it as a kid or as a teen or whatever. But when you look back on it now, it's like there was a lot of feet stuff.
Yeah,
Like, a
exactly.
lot.
Like I remember an intro to an episode of iCarly where they painted like the bottom of their feet to look like people.
Oh yeah.
And they were
yeah.
like, "Oh, I got to introduce y'all to somebody." And they
like-
showed
it-
they showed like
or-
all the different faces on their toes. It was
or
gross.
the one where the one that always stuck with me and made me kind of have I developed a fear of this. I never thought I would. It was where Carly's in her bathtub, and she sticks her foot in the faucet
Uh-huh.
and pulls it out, sticks it back in, and it gets stuck, and they have to like get it out. Like, what? And the way they weave it in the story, like I guess it kind of works, but it's like, what's all the feet stuff? You know,
I know, man.
It's so out of nowhere.
Yeah, and
like,
I know the feet stuff it was so disgusting.
yeah,
But some of the jokes actually were a little clever.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I found out, I didn't actually know this, but those scenes where it was like supposed to be Freddy filming and like he would turn the camera around like, I actually didn't say that, and like all that shit, like apparently that's an actual camera.
Yeah.
Like a camera guy is filming that and Freddy's just kind of like standing behind him, and when it comes time to turn the camera around, he just like holds the front of the camera to make it look like he's holding like a little handheld
Camcorder.
camera, like camcorder.
I never thought about that when I watched it. I would just kind of, I never put that together. I was like,
I
oh yeah,
never-
it's him filming it.
I never
'cause,
put
you
it
know.
together either. It was so weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, like the new iCarly, it's very adult. Like they say damn and like hell a lot. Like
Yeah.
what the hell? Ah, damn it. Like
But never like fuck.
yeah, they never say like fuck or shit. They do say ass once, I think, if I remember correctly. I think they said like,
What's
I'll
the
kick your
rating
ass.
for it? Is it like 14 or
It's
probably 14.
14.
yeah, it's not TVMA. It's TV 14.
What is MA? What is it?
Mature
sex?
audiences.
Yeah, mature
Or
audience.
drugs.
That means like
It's mainly like sex and violence, pretty much. Maybe
yeah.
language.
So like TV shows that are MA, they recommend that nobody under the age of 17 watch it.
So like South Park, like things that are really violent, raunchy, gory, things like that.
Yeah, and like PG-13, that's basically TV 14, but in movie form. So,
TV 14's like Family Guy and shit.
yeah, like TV 14 is definitely
It's-
the PG-13 of TV shows because it's like they don't say fuck or shit. Maybe they'll say shit once in the entire show, but in iCarly they didn't.
Is South Park 14 or MA?
It's MA.
It's MA.
Because they say fucking shit a lot.
Oh yeah.
And they talk about like terrible things like
Love mature stuff.
yeah.
You know what I don't get? I know there's the rule about, with in regards to fucking shit and how you can't say it. and there's like, because like, what if a kid like turns on the TV and sees that? Like, but what if it's like 10 o'clock at night and I'm watching South Park? Why can't they uncensor it and say fucking shit?
I know. I like when they uncensor.
Like during the day, air the edited episodes, and at night the unedited ones.
And
No
even-
kid's gonna be up that late.
even if a kid sees it during the day, they're gonna hear fuck censor, but then they're gonna see like Kyle get raped by like Snooki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I noticed that even in edited episodes of South Park where they do like the like they censor it.
Yeah.
Like they still keep the sexual stuff in there.
Yeah, the violence.
Yeah. At that
the
point, I would
sex.
why not just keep fuck and then just not have a kid watch it at all? Look at us. We're talking about
exactly. Like
child psychology.
I know, like I know we're not experts on it, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's really simple.
Have you
for real?
Have you seen back to Dan Schneider? It's not iCarly, but it was a Victorious video. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. It was a compilation of Dan Schneider being a creepo, and he goes up. Excuse me. He goes up to, I think her name's Jade, the goth girl. Oh,
Yes.
dude, when I was a kid, I had a huge crush
Oh,
on her.
man, me too,
Anyways,
dude.
he went up to her, and Ariana Grande, before she became famous or famouser.
Yes.
They were hanging out in the like main school set,
Mm-hmm.
and he points the camera at her, and she starts like giggling and kind of like steps off, and then Jade, her actress, I don't know her full name, she stares at like the camera, looks all like pissed off, like she doesn't like being around Dan Schneider. It's kind of interesting,
It's like nobody liked being around.
or like
him.
yeah, he was just weird. It's always touchy feely stuff.
And apparently he wasn't even like that. Like when he first started at Nickelodeon.
I doubt it.
Like when he first started, with like, what was one of his
I
first
think it was,
Nickelodeon
like the
shows?
Amanda Show.
Amanda Show, all that. Those were.
Oh, speaking of the Amanda Show, he would host like pool parties for the auditionees that he would have over.
Yeah, no, I did do that.
Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I might rescind my earlier comment about him not being like that in the beginning.
No, yeah, well, yeah, he would like. I don't know if the parents
Well-
were present, but it's kind of.
It's still
weird
it's still
thing.
weird.
It's
like,
still weird.
it-
Like this, you don't know this
was
man.
he always like that, or did he get
Yeah.
like coerced into it? Did he learn that?
No, I
It
think he
makes
was
you
always
think.
like that.
Nah, I think he's always been a creep.
Yeah.
Honestly, seriously.
Nickelodeon had a lot of creeps. Like, what's the name of the guy who did Ren and Stimpy? John.
Jean Crisfalucci.
Criva-
Is that the one where they had a lot of episodes that had very, very sexual innuendos?
That was the adult version. There was Ren and Stimpy, and then Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, and that was the adult reboot where
Yeah.
they had sexual stuff. The original one didn't
That
have
one
anything
kinda
sexual
sucks.
because that was on Nicktoons.
But the one, but that one was also kind of hated by parents because of how violent,
Gross.
and gross, and it was a lot more on edge. But the guy who did that show, he had like he was dating like what? She was like a 14 or 15-year-old girl or something.
Maybe 16.
What?
She was young.
Yeah, she was really okay. I'm gonna go just say 16, just because I don't know the full age. But he was dating this young girl, and she moved to where were they at? Where was it?
I think he was.
Headquartered.
His base was in like
California,
California.
somewhere in California. She went out there and left her family and lived there, and I think they have letters with each other you could find. But it was crazy. That guy was he was a real creep.
That
Like,
is
straight up.
crazy.
I think he had pictures of an underage girl naked too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would like doodle. He's a real horn dog, man. He draws all sorts of like voluptuous chicks all the time, and
Oh my god.
he's a creep.
I honestly had no idea about any of
Yeah,
this.
dude. Yeah.
Man, Nickelodeon, dude, up your game.
Yeah.
Do some big background checks.
Thank
for real.
thank
They've
goodness
changed.
none of those guys work there anymore. But could you imagine if there's people still like that now in cartoons? Because how you see how weird cartoons are nowadays. How like so many episodes. It's just a lot of them. You ever go on YouTube and look up like the writer's excuse to throw in their fetishes in an
Ugh.
episode?
Yeah.
It'll be like someone like farting a lot or some shit like that.
Ew.
Look it up. Like go on YouTube and like
Or, like,
look up
feet.
like the writer's excuse to have their fetish in the episode.
I saw this one that had like an emphasis. As soon as you said that, there was a video I saw of one cartoon that had a lot of emphasis on feet, and it really grossed me out.
Yeah, it's because it gets to like where it's like the first time it's like, oh, that's funny, and then it's like, okay, this is too much. Let's do something else.
Man, if you like farting, like if farting is your fetish, you must really like getting pink eye. Because I mean, that's disgusting for real. Like, what, guys in the audience? We all fart, we all do it. But for real, Don't let it be a fetish. It's not good. Seriously.
Not just guys, everyone.
Yes, but like guys make that shit into a joke. Like we find it funny. That's why I started talking to the fellas.
Yeah, the dudes out there. The dudes. The red-blooded, red meat-eating dudes. Let's see. What else? What other shows do we like?
Seinfeld.
I love Seinfeld. Hell's Kitchen. I know we're kind of veering off from kids shows and sitcoms, but we're talking like just what do you call it? Drama, reality?
Yeah, like reality
cooking,
shows.
reality TV show. I love Hell's Kitchen. I like it more than Kitchen Nightmare and Hotel Hell.
Yes.
I love because Kitchen Nightmare. I mean, it's the same thing every time. Hell's Kitchen, you get different people. You get them doing all kinds of nice. You get the same dishes, but they all do it differently. They all get yelled at. It's great.
Especially when you get characters like, well, not characters, but like a guy that is that he literally is a character.
Yeah.
Like what was his name?
Raj?
Raj.
Raj.
Dude, he was so funny. Like
I love Raj.
I love that he wouldn't listen to anything, and then like he would get drunk and just start doing karate moves.
I love that.
Yes.
And he somehow survived on that show longer than his teammates who were doing better than him.
Now the first elimination of that season, I think it was season 10, it was one of the girls in the girl team was injured and had to leave. Another guy lost because he sucked. Like he was worse than Raj, if you can believe that. And then Raj lost because he kept fucking up. I think he fucked up the special that night. So he had to go. But he was hilarious. And I feel like he kind of had to play it up for the cameras. I feel like a lot of that is just playing it up. But I also think there's some kind of sincerity in there. I mean, he might not be doing, karate kicks at home, but he is kind of a slow guy.
I know.
I think it's because of where he was at. I think he doesn't work well as a line cook. But I don't know.
Yes, like you already know that. Like Gordon Ramsay, he doesn't play around when it comes to food. So
No,
like
dude.
if the food is terrible, he's gonna tell you. Plus, I really like that episode where he starts pulling pasta out of the trash can. He's like,
yeah.
"What is this? What is this?
Yeah.
What is that?" Like his voice gets higher. Like it's honestly so fucking
It is
funny,
awesome.
dude. I know, dude.
The newest season had a bunch of what do they call it? Young bucks, young something.
know.
It was all people under like 24, 23. They were really young.
Wow.
And they were pretty good. The guy who won was this little, short guy named Trevor, and he was pretty cool. I was kind of rooting for him, but it was pretty cool. He didn't talk to him like how he talked to everybody else because I guess they were younger. So he kind of would be like, "I need you to do better. I need you to be better than this." And then they would, and then they do really good. He was a lot nicer in that season. Season 21, I think.
He's also way, way, way nicer to kids. Like if any
Yeah.
of you have ever seen like MasterChef Junior. Like, it is a totally different show than any of the other shows where he's, like, talking to adults.
Or MasterChef in general. That's he's toned down on MasterChef.
I know.
Because he's just a judge. He's not trying to have them make the food. They make it, and they fuck up, It's not on his shoulders.
That reminds me. I saw this clip of MasterChef Junior. Their challenge was to make, like, chicken and waffles, I think. And they had chicken, waffles, all that stuff. And they gave them maple syrup. Well, this one kid, he didn't use the maple syrup that was offered to him.
Oh no!
He made his own maple syrup, and
Oh.
one of the. Well, no, I mean, it may sound gross, or whatever, but you gotta understand. Like, he wanted to be different. He's like, "Oh, I want it to be different. I want it to be like original." And this one judge hated that kid's fucking guts.
No, which one was it?
It wasn't Gordon Ramsay. It was some bald dude with a beard.
Oh, was it Joe?
We knew exactly
Is that
what you
his
were
name?
talking about.
The bald Italian guy?
You didn't even need to
Is
say
he
it, bro.
He's bald. He has a beard. He's kind of skinny. He's really
Yes.
pasty white.
Yes.
You didn't even need to say
That's
what
him.
you're talking about.
He takes one bite and he's like, "This is good, but your chicken's burnt." And he says something about the waffle, and then he's like, "And your syrup. You used something original, and you didn't use what we gave you because you want to be cute. You think this is fun. You think this is game."
Wait, that wasn't edited? That was legit?
Yeah, he was like, "You think this is cutesy? You think this is fun? You think, oh, I'm gonna do
Damn.
this?"
No,
was
did
like,
he really say that?
Yeah, he was like, well, he didn't say exactly what I'm saying, but he did say
If
something
you
along
can
the
find that clip, insert it for everyone to see, because I think they would like to see this as well.
Because you think you're going to be cutesy or a smarty pants, and it doesn't really work out, well, then what happens?
But he
What a dick.
he did say something along the lines of, "Oh, you think this is cutesy, but actually it's not, and you're trying to like show off." And it's like, calm the fuck down, dude. What does he gain from tearing down this little kid's like satisfaction? Like he seems so proud of himself. I mean, like if the syrup tasted bad, he could say, "Hey, this tasted bad," but it wasn't the taste; it was the fact that he made his own syrup. It pissed him off so bad.
Man. Was it at least good? Or
I don't know.
he didn't
I don't
say?
think he cared too much about the taste. I think he could tell that it was different, and that pissed him
He
the
just
fuck
wanted to
off.
go
He's like,
off.
hey, you got to use what we gave you.
I know that reminds me of that one clip where
Oh,
he's tasting one of the people's foods on regular MasterChef.
Yeah.
And he's like, you were very different from the other contestants. Like, I asked you to make this, and you didn't do anything of what the other contestants did. And the contestant was like, you want to taste 15 of the same dishes? And like, dude, you could, oh my god,
humbled.
dude, like for real, like even Joe kind of just looked at him, and it's like he didn't even know what to say, because usually Joe has something to quip back
Yeah.
with if like a contestant says something that he doesn't like, and like, oh my god, it's like Joe, he was just at a loss for words, so he kind of just looked at him angrily and kept eating his food, and then he was just like, this is terrible, get out of here, and then he like walked away. And, like, you could tell when that contestant was taken off the show. It wasn't that episode. I think it was a few episodes later. But, like, when that contestant had to leave the show, you could tell Joe was fucking satisfied with him leaving.
No.
Like, he wanted that guy gone. And, like, he got his wish, I guess. But I don't know. Like, when you watch MasterChef Junior and then you watch something like Hell's Kitchen, like, back to back, and you see Gordon Ramsay like, what the fuck are you doing? No, get the fuck away from that. No. And then you just watch MasterChef Junior, and he's like, oh my, gorgeous. And
Just fucking like that.
it's like, oh my god, it's like two different people.
And
Seriously.
and like they'll get sad, like, oh, what's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, what my child? And like he's like,
yes,
comforting them.
one of my favorite clips from MasterChef Junior is when he brought his daughter on, and one of the kids, Freddie, started flirting with her, and it was like, "What's it like at your house? Why don't you come over and I'll show you?" And and Gordon Ramsay's like, "Freddie, I'm gonna talk to your father. You're here to cook, not flirt."
What a very
It's true,
British
though.
thing to say.
I know, dude.
It's a wise lesson from Master Gordon. Oh man.
Mr. Ramsay. Oh, speaking of TV shows, okay, it's not a TV show, but when you guys talking about it, I kept thinking about this as it was going throughout my head. Fucking Fish Tank. I know it ended recently, like a month ago, but fucking Fish Tank. It's not a TV show. It's like a reality show. If any of you guys have seen Big Brother, it's kind of like that. It's amazing. You can probably find full episodes. You'd have to pay $40 for the archive.
Lame.
But you
Lame.
can watch clips online. And to be honest, not all of it was that interesting. You had a few stand-up moments, but you don't need to watch every second of it. But basically, it was like Big Brother. You have people in the house. You have contestants, and then you have freeloaders who can't compete. They're just there to, like, fuck with the contestants, the actual contestants, who can win the prize money. And it lasted from, like, April or March
It was
something.
like a month. I think
So
it was
yeah,
a
it
whole
lasted for
month.
like a month until like the end of May, and they had fucking everyone on there was a nobody really, except for Airsoft Fatty. I bet everybody knows who he is or remembers him. We like him a lot. He's kind of niche now, but we like him a lot.
He literally is a has-been.
He is. He's
Any
he's
audience member
Z-list.
that doesn't know what Airsoft Fatty is, literally just look up Airsoft Fatty. It's all one word, and you'll see what we mean.
I mean, I don't blame them if they don't remember him because it's been years since he was popular. But like, they fucking like Fish Tank was hell for him. I mean, they apparently put his clothes in the toilet, and then the guy threw acid on him, which I don't think he
threw
deserved.
bleach on him.
him.
But still, not good.
and then Airsoft Fatty, like I'm gonna actually do a a thing of his voice, a little impersonation. He was like, "That was a chemical attack, and I want to press charges."
He did say that, and
That was the
I would be
closest-
mad too. And I mean, he doesn't deserve that, but he did do a lot of fucked up shit to the other contestants. Like he spit on this one girl. He called her a cunt. He was like charging at her, like, "What the fuck are you gonna do?" Like, I don't know. Like,
You call
that's-
her a slut or a whore?
He did all.
Did
of
I
them.
say
all the
slut?
above?
He said cunt. I know he called her a slut and a cunt. I think that's what he said when he was walking up the stairs. All right, so guys, he was walking up the stairs after something happened, and he murmurs something. I think he says like Letty's slutty ass or Letty's ass, and then he goes and he falls down the stairs, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And they're all crying around. I'm like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
And then
dude.
and then
So
he goes in the
funny.
bathroom and he's talking like his jaw is broken, and he's like, I can't damn my God hurts to talk. And then after that, he's like, "Oh, guys, so what's up, my boys?" And like he's like he's talking normally afterwards.
Oh my god.
Fucking, there's another thing that he did. When he got so for some reason on the show he got naked, much to everyone's disgust. He got naked, and he did a bunch of other creepy stuff to this girl. Like he tried to like impress. I don't know. He did a bunch of creepy stuff.
He sat on the stairs one episode with a pair of scissors.
sat-
He was like, "You're not coming up the
That
stairs."
that was for somebody else. That was for a girl named Sylvia. He didn't want her to come up the stairs, but Letty
Yeah.
was the girl he was trying to impress and date, and that didn't work out. Letty was like, "Oh, I don't really like you, whatever." And yeah, I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you've seen Total Drama Island, but remember how they go in the bathroom and they talk in the camera?
They'd have a confessional. That's what it's called.
That's what it's like. Fatty had a confessional in the bathroom, and he goes, "Fucking, all right, I'm gonna do an impression with you real quick." But he's all like, "Fuck, how do you start?" He goes, "Well, let's face it," and then he farts, and then he goes, "Well, in all seriousness, fuck, man, why didn't she like me? I was gonna cook her stuff, and it's gonna taste good. I'm gonna make a
The
pork
fucking
meal."
southern accent.
He does
I
a
love
southern
it.
accent
Just
for some
randomly
reason.
jumps into that.
And then he's like, "Man, why didn't she like me? Like, what do you think she didn't like you? Like, he got naked, he being creepy." One time, I don't know if this was before or after the confessional, but they handcuffed Fatty to the girl's wrist, and she had to be with him while he pooped. So Fatty's pooping,
God,
and
no.
she's handcuffed. The handcuffs weren't even actual handcuffs.
Was it like
it was
rope?
no, it wasn't rough. It was like toilet paper or like bandages or something. It was like some white fabric.
Oh,
It wasn't
okay,
even
okay.
an actual cuff or like rope. It
Wasn't
was
that
just,
for like a skit?
no, it was real. They
No, didn't they do skits on the show?
Yeah, they did challenges. They did one where they had to be gangsters.
Yeah.
And they were gangs. You had the Crips and the Bloods. Fatty, I think, was a Crip. And he
my
says the
God.
fucking N-word. He said the N-word. And then later on they call him out on it, and he's like, "Guys, I said that only because I don't want to go homeless in Michigan. I had to win the challenge, because if you win the challenge, you get money." So he's like,
my
"I don't
God.
want to go homeless," because at the time he was going to be homeless. He got evicted from his trailer in Michigan, and Fish Tank was in Rhode Island. So he's there, and he didn't want to go homeless. So if he didn't do the challenge, he would have could have got kicked
That
out.
is
He
a
would have gotten
long
money.
ways away, Michigan and Rhode Island.
It is. I think
I
they
know.
flew him out.
Distance.
And
It
now he lives in
is.
New York. He's gonna live in a mobile home, tiny home, whatever
Well,
they're called.
Does anyone remember Alf?
I do.
I do.
love Alf.
We all do.
Love Alf. I love Alf. I just got back into it. I love the guy who does Willie. What is his name? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
I
his
don't
name.
remember.
The dad from Alf. One episode. The actors on that show hated having to play second fiddle to a puppet. And the dad, Willie, he didn't like it the most out of all of them. And one day, I think he would show up a lot drunk or like high or something on set
Fuck, really?
because he just didn't care anymore. He did that near the end. And one time, or maybe this was just one. No, he would get high and drink a lot. I don't know if it was on set, but he would do it a lot. This one time, he was pissed off so much at the Alf puppet about what it was like, just the concept. You are like this big stage actor. You're in movies and shows and stuff, and you're literally playing with this puppet. So he got so mad, he went over, and you know how like on like Muppets and other puppet kind of productions, you have the floor for the performers and then the actual floor to the actors to walk on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he walked over to that and went to the spot where the Alf performer was and jerked the puppet out of the guy's hand. He just started ripping it, and tearing at it, and destroying it. Like he ripped
Fuck.
up that puppet
He
to
ripped
shreds.
up Alf?
Yeah, he was
Dude.
like, look at this. And he was like going crazy.
I hope they had a second one.
And then they had to make a whole new puppet.
That sucks.
And then at the on the last episode, the finale, he did his part. They taped the episode, and he just left. He didn't even stay
I
to
bet
do
he
like a
was-
big goodbye or a big wrap up. He just left.
He's probably really fucking happy.
Yeah,
He's probably like,
I
"All right,
don't
I'm
blame
leaving."
him. That honestly sucks. Like, I love Alf, but really, like, you gotta. But I mean, you signed up for the show. You knew that was what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
The alien's the star. You're not the star.
I think
the dad.
I think he just figured that like Alf, even though he might have been told Alf was the main character. I guess he
Yeah.
figured since Alf basically lived with him
Yeah.
that like he was also a main character.
Oh yeah,
So
he
he
would
would
get like a big role.
yeah he would get as big of a role as Alf, even though the show is called Alf and not what's his character's name?
Willie.
Yeah, it's not called Willie and Alf. It's called Alf.
Alf,
So of
right.
course, who's gonna get the most screen time? Alf.
Alf.
I mean, even then, I think Willie got a good amount of screen time. I think the whole family did. It's just that he probably didn't like the fact that he had to, interact with the puppet,
I
which
like,
is like silly. You knew you were going to be acting with the puppet. You signed on to this.
I like their neighbors, the Ochmonics.
Yeah, the woman.
Fun
I don't
fact.
remember her name.
Mrs. Ogmonic, I don't remember her first name. She is actually Jerry's mom from Seinfeld.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Jerry's
crazy.
mom.
Because I watched Alf first. Of course, I grew up, the hub, with like Transformers and Dan
My Little
versus
Pony.
the World.
Yes.
I didn't. Correction. I did not watch My Little Pony growing up.
I didn't say you
For
did.
anyone who's thinking that, I did not. I watched it for Alf. And then they would do Total Drama on there, too. I don't know how they got it. But they would show Total Drama on the hub sometimes.
And Fraggle
But
Rock.
when yes, I would watch Fraggle Rock and Alf on there. And that's how I grew up watching Alf. But then, I watched Seinfeld recently. And I was like, that's weird. Jerry's mom looks pretty familiar. That's the neighbor mom from Alf. I didn't know that
That's crazy.
until then. Yeah. And she's funny in both shows, but I think she's really funny in Seinfeld. Because, of course, they give her a lot more to do.
You're giving him that pin back.
Oh, yeah, you're giving him that pin back. The pin. Or when Jerry was caught making out at Schindler's List.
You were necking during Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Or his dad, Jerry, walks in and he's like, so how about that movie? And he's like, oh, yeah, it was great.
Hey, what'd you think of the list?
Oh, yeah, how about that list? It was some list. And the black and white? Oh, yeah, the black and white.
That was some list.
What movie was in black and white?
Yeah,
Yeah, the black and white.
So funny.
I personally don't like Seinfeld. It doesn't really interest me. It's not really that funny to me.
Okay, I gotta ask you. I know you don't like it, but what about it isn't funny? Is it the characters? Is it the situations they're in? What is it?
I just it's not that I don't like the people or
Yeah.
the parts they're playing. I think it's just like I watch it and I listen to what they say.
Yeah.
And it's just not funny to
not
me.
funny?
It genuinely does not make me
even
laugh.
some of it.
No, not even some of it. Like
crazy.
none of it can make me laugh.
Crazy.
I know that, like, a little bit of lore here. They have showed me so many Seinfeld clips that they think is funny, and they're like, dude, you have to watch this. It's so funny. And, like, they tell me this and that about the clip, and that, like, I've watched so much of Seinfeld just because of the clips they send, and I don't laugh at any of it.
They're
like,
good.
It's just not funny to me.
They're
I don't
good.
know why. And I don't know what it is about Friends that I find funny. Y'all can say, like, well, how can you say Friends is better when, Friends doesn't have the...
But what do you like about Friends, though?
I don't know. I think it's just more of the fact that instead of it just being wacky-ass situations, it's also, like, there's just elements of realism that, like, I know that can happen, and the fact that it happened to them and seeing their reactions to it is just, it's funny to me.
Yeah, but you can get the same thing from Seinfeld.
I know,
though.
but for some reason when I watch Seinfeld, it's not funny to me. Like, I watch it, I cannot find it funny.
The one with a lot of them were funny, the ones we've been watching recently. I like the one where George and Jerry, they had George's car broke down. They're at an airport, and they had to find a way to get home. And you know how when you go to an airport, there's, like, drivers holding signs? Well, they see one for O'Brien, and George's like, oh, let's just take them. They haven't, O'Brien hasn't showed up, let's go there. So him and Jerry pretend to be O'Brien, and then Jerry goes by this alias, like, Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, Daniel Murphy.
So then they get in this car, and of course they don't know what's going on. So, like, driver, where are we going? They're like, oh, we're going to go pick some people up. We're going to go pick up your party. And the people they pick up, get this, are two neo-Nazis. And it turns out that this O'Brien guy that George pretended to be is a neo-Nazi, like, writer. And he's like the president of this one chapter of Nazis in New York or something.
Oh my god, bro!
And the way
I think
that
Chicago. He's from
or Chicago,
He's
the
trying
way
to get to New York.
the way that they lead up to it is really funny because it's vague. Because they're like, "Oh, I love your work. I love your book," and George is thinking that he's like he must be a writer. He's like, "Oh yeah, you like my work? Yeah."
It's called The Big Game.
It's called The Big Game. I love. And he's like, "Oh yeah, some game, huh?" And then what's even funnier is that Jerry Seinfeld's Jewish. His character's Jewish too, huh?
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
Jewish, and George has to, like, talk about how much he hates Jews so that they believe him, and he's just nodding along like, oh yeah, like
And
like
Jerry's just
that
sitting
is
there.
he's talking about you. And then there's a part where George reads an excerpt of, like, the speech he's gonna give, and he's like, and the Jewish people control the media, and he says a bunch of other stuff, and that's when he realizes. And then the ending's really funny because they get to a riot because everyone found out where the O'Brien guy was going to be. So they all form a riot, and he's there, and everyone's like crowding around him and trying to beat him up. And he's like, "That's not me. I'm not him. I'm not him. I'm not O'Brien."
And
It's so
under
fucking
his
funny.
name, it says like O'Brien.
It says like
leader
William
of the
O'Brien,
Alien Union.
leader of it. And he's like, "I'm not him." I
It's
love
so
it.
good.
I
That's
love
a
him.
classic one.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know.
I think if you don't like the whole show, you'd like some episodes. You'd like the pin. The pin is funny because Jerry is accused of taking this one guy's pin. Even
You
though,
showed me that before.
Did I? Oh
Yes.
yeah, we did.
They
Say-
showed me that, and I didn't find it funny.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites. I love the pen.
I might check out the neo-Nazi ones, and if I find it funny, I will admit in the next episode that I found it funny. But
It's
that one
funny
is good.
because the vagueness, it works so well. And I
Yes.
love how clueless George is. They're like, "Oh, the big game." He's like, "Yeah, it was some game."
Yeah,
huh?"
they're
He's like-
so vague about it. And like I've read it so many times.
They're like, "Oh, I love your work. Oh, I'm a
and
fan."
then there was the part where they're just like the build up. When I first watched it, I was like,
Well, I already knew because you told me, but still, it
I-
was interesting piecing it together.
I was like, dude, what are they talking about? The big game? I was thinking like a basketball game,
No, the
or
big
like a
game.
football game or something.
the big game.
But no, it was a white supremacist thing, and it's just so good.
That's
And
crazy.
they get caught in it, and then Elena Kramer get pulled into it. It's so good. It's funny.
For some reason, that made me that made me think of South Park when they. It was sort of towards the beginning of the show where they had KKK members, and it was really funny because they came in and all they would say is like "white power," so they'd come in "white power, white power, white power," and then like I think that was the episode where they were trying to defend the South Park flag.
Wait,
I think
speaking of
so,
KKK and flags,
What?
did you guys see, Nick, you might have, Josh, did you see the Nazis outside of Disney World a few days ago?
No, I did not.
I saw that the other day. That shit was so fucking bizarre. And what's even worse is that people, like, they're not even, like, a normal person would look at it and go, man, that's really fucked up. There are people literally going, hey, well, that's not real. They're plants by the government. I don't know. When you said that, it made me think of it. And it made me mad because, like,
What?
yeah, they didn't, instead of saying, like, that's fucked up, what the fuck, they're like, no, those are plants by the government.
Plants
those are,
by the
those are
government,
really these people. I'm like, no, what, why would, I don't know. I mean, say what you want about the government, but that doesn't make sense that they plant, I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't.
That's
That's like when people say that birds are government drones.
I saw this one guy today who was talking
yeah.
about. I watched this whole video of crazy people talking about conspiracies. I work with a guy who's really into conspiracy theories. He thinks that like the moon landing was faked or something like that. Something, a space station, something like that's faked. He thinks that Michelle Obama didn't actually give birth to her children. He thinks that fucking.
All right.
I don't know what the hell he thinks.
With that being said,
Yeah,
another
with that being
with
said.
that being said,
I had to
let's
mention
see.
all that.
Wait.
Kind of veered
What
off
was I
topic
saying?
a
Oh, the
lot.
South Park flag. They were trying to
Oh, yeah.
defend the South Park flag because I don't know. For anyone who hasn't seen the episode, the South Park flag for the town has like a bunch of people crowded around a guy who's being hanged, but the crowd is white, like white silhouette figures, and the person being hanged is like a black silhouette figure. And like in the show, Jimbo is like, no, it doesn't represent white people killing black people. And Chef, the black character, is like, well, it does, because it's literally a black guy being hanged by white people. And the KKK came in and they were like, white power, hey, we're here to defend the flag. And Jimbo was like, oh man, I appreciate you guys wanting to defend the flag, but I kind of don't want to endorse y'all coming in here.
He realized he had to
He
get out of there.
he realized exactly what kind of situation he put himself in. So, and then the KKK, as they were leaving, they were like, let's all go home and take a hot shower. And they left chanting that. And that shit was so funny to me. I don't know why. But then at the end, they changed it to where it was still a black guy being hanged, but they changed the color of the crowd. So like there was one white guy, one black guy, one yellow guy, and like one blue or red guy.
Yeah.
Diversity. So
yeah.
now we can hang people.
Now everybody's
Yeah.
doing
Everybody gets to watch
Now,
somebody get hung.
yeah, now we can lynch people as
That's
long
such a-
as the crowd is diversified.
it. That's such a South Park like conclusion. Don't change it. Just like
Yeah,
make everybody.
just make it a
make the lynching.
Make the lynching a little
Diverse.
more inclusive.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
don't leave everybody out. Everybody gets to
That's
lynch.
funny.
God.
I
fuck
yeah,
me.
I know
Classic.
that's a classic South Park move right there. I mean, they always solve their problems with some dumb shit like that.
Exactly.
And they even call it out in later seasons where they'll get themselves into a situation where they have a problem, and then at the end they solve it, and then one of the kids will be like, "You see, I've learned something today. I've learned that we can't do this or that because it's not right." And like even in later seasons, like Kyle or Stan will be like, if we do that, we're just going to end up getting ourselves in a situation where we fix it, and then we just say, "You see, I've learned something." And and then what do you know? At the end of the episode, that exact thing happens, and it's like, okay, you're becoming a little too self-aware. I'm glad that they kind of like dove off from that a little bit, and they started doing actual like content. Except, I don't like the Tegrity Farms shit.
Yeah,
I-
I think they've
I don't
kind of
mind
been probably since 2016. They've kind of been falling off lately.
I don't know what episode it was, but fuck, what was I gonna say? Damn it, hang on. What were we talking about? Oh, I don't know. Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh fuck. Oh yeah. I don't know what episode it was, but they're at the bus stop and Cartman does or says something, and Kyle's like, I can't do this. I like it's like what you said. They're like addressing the formulaic, like the format of the episodes. He's like, I can't do this, and he just walks off and he's not seeing the episode. I think that had a real world parallel, like his voice actor was doing something else at the time, like the Book of Mormon or some shit, so he couldn't be on the show.
Book of Mormon,
But
the music.
I do want to think that it might have had. I think it was also just because it related to the story breaking the format for that once. But still, I think it might have been a little bit of both.
Yeah, I love South Park though.
Me too.
I don't really like any of their later stuff, but their early
They've had
stuff.
some good stuff recently.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but I mean nothing compares to like classic South
The,
Park.
the
Yeah.
one with Garrison and his new boyfriend, what's his name, Richard or Robert?
I
or
think it's Richard.
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 They go they go to South Carolina. They go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to party.
That was in Florida.
And no,
What?
they go to Myrtle Beach to go like it's like they're an older couple. Their days of drugs and shit are behind them, but it's not drugs. It's Trump. So they'll go there and they go past this big Trump store and they're like, "Oh, we love you, Mr. President. Give us a speech and stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I can't do this." And he comes back the next day and does it.
I love the fucking
then-
part where he's in the bathroom and the guy's tapping his foot to like let him know that he knows who he is.
Yeah.
And Richard walks in, and you can only see the guy bent over and Garrison like from behind. He's like, yeah, and he's like just, I don't know, thrust. He's not fucking him, but he's like
It's like it looks like he's humping him.
And he's like,
Yes.
yeah, we gonna take back them states. And he's like, just, it's
so
fucking
awesome.
amazing. I love it so much.
I know they do have some good stuff like that in the show, like classic, like misunderstandings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Andrew Tate also makes an appearance. Well, a guy that looks like him. It's not actually him, but they gave him like it looks just fucking like him.
Yeah, and apparently Andrew Tate sent out a post sometime after that episode was made where he was like, "Oh, once my name gets or I'll try to do his accent.
Do his accent.
Once my name gets cleared, I'm gonna take my Bugatti over to the studio and I'm gonna make the greatest South Park episode ever made.
No.
Where's your Bugatti, huh?"
I think. Do you guys think celebrity culture is still as relevant as it was back in the late '90s?
Nah.
That stuff like
maybe.
having a celebrity get offended about South Park, is that still like a thing, or does it
No.
not happen that much anymore?
I don't think it happens that much. No one really gives a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like Andrew Tate, he didn't really get offended at South Park. He said he actually found the episode like funny.
I hate Andrew Tate.
And we all do, but
Not my manager at work.
yeah, there are a lot of people that really like Andrew Tate, but
Yeah.
we're not going to dive into that because that's not what we do here on
Yeah.
the show. But
Yeah.
like, in all seriousness, like, we shouldn't really listen to what a celebrity has to say about a show. If I'm being honest, about a show or a movie, because it's like, we listen to something a famous person says about maybe like a movie. Like Martin Scorsese, what he said.
Martin Scorsese, my eyebrows are huge.
Yeah, what he said about Marvel and like all the superhero
That shit was
stuff.
base as
Okay,
fuck.
he was right. Yeah, he was right.
It doesn't matter that he was
But
right. It's a matter
you shouldn't
of.
take his word for gospel, but I mean, he was
That's
right.
what
He
I'm
was
saying.
right.
It doesn't
He was
matter
right.
that he was right. What matters is that he's basically looking at people who actually like this stuff, and he's basically
guys.
he's basically saying that you're an idiot for liking this.
I don't think he
He's
was saying,
so right.
I don't think
He's
he was
so
saying
right.
that. I don't think he's saying you're an idiot. I think he's saying that. I mean, the genre he has issues with, but I don't think he was talking about the people in general.
No, I mean, if you listen to exactly what he said, because they always have like little snippets of what he said, but if you listen to fully what he said, there are little bits where he's kind of alluding to like you maybe not calling you an idiot, but saying like you shouldn't like this.
I don't think
it's
that's-
not good to like. It's not good to like. It's basically what do you say? It's theme park fun.
It's like a roller coaster,
it's-
and I
it's
have
a
really
ro-
big eyebrows. You
yeah,
guys.
it's a roller coaster.
That's what it
I
sounds
don't
like.
like Marvel or anything, but somehow I found the movie Shark Tale appealing, and I appeared in there.
Okay,
Well, to be fair,
but
he was just
he's
probably
gotta get
did
that
it-
bag,
He probably
dude.
did it for fucking money.
Yeah,
Um,
he really did do it
I
just
don't
for
but
like
money.
he's not
though.
wrong. I mean, I wouldn't consider. I consider that a pretty neutral
I
statement.
would say I think that his like criticism of the fans or whatever, that's kind of irrelevant if you're going to judge the genre. But yes, I agree with him on the genre. It is roller coaster movies. It is like
Yeah.
a theme park ride.
I wouldn't say
I agree.
that's negative. I mean, it's true. It is a roller coaster movie.
No, I was
you
talking
don't
about-
go there to have like a profound thought and go like, "Wow, I learned something." No, it's just like, "Woo!"
Yeah, if you want a profound
But-
thought, go watch
but-
the 24 movie.
There are every now and then there are Marvel movies that really make you think
I don't know,
about
Infinity War, I
things.
guess.
Few and far
Infinity
between.
War and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Spoilers,
I
by the
haven't
way.
seen that one.
But they really make you feel for animals in that episode. I mean, like they have Rocket being tortured. Like
Fuck.
actual animals being tortured in that movie. And that's somehow PG-13. I mean, like I get it, like it's not fully shown, but they show like they have like sounds of animals being tortured,
Yeah.
and then they show like Rocket with his head like all cut up and
Oh, that's
everything.
Jesus
like
Christ.
the meme
And-
of him all tied in. The
Yeah,
chair.
and him, his first word was literally hurts, and like they really made you feel for him in that movie.
Oh, was he
'cause,
a
I
little
mean, that-
baby?
yeah, he was literally a little tiny baby
Little
child,
baby.
a little baby Rocket. Like y'all should really watch that movie. It's honestly really
Is
good.
it on Disney Plus?
No, not yet.
Well,
but
when it gets on it, I'll try to watch it because I don't feel like going to theaters.
yeah, that's all good. But you really should give the third one a try. I mean, it is.
I've seen the first
awesome.
two. I've
And
seen the second one. I haven't seen the
I
first
know y'all aren't really into action movies all that
Nah.
much, but I know that when it comes down to a good fight in a movie, everybody knows you have to have good choreography.
Yes.
And there is one fight in that movie. It's all one shot. And it goes around the room as they're fighting things. Yeah. They're fighting these like alien creatures with like chainsaws for hands. No, not Chainsaw Man. If anybody's going to meme this, no. But
Yes, Chainsaw Man.
no, not Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
Fuck Chainsaw Man. I don't like that show.
don't like
but
Chainsaw Man?
No, I don't. But we're not gonna talk about that. But
Yes, we will. In a second.
no, but Guardians. It has that one fight scene where like Drax opens the door and they all run in and start fighting the aliens, and it's all one shot, and you like see how skilled each of them are and how like good they work together.
Yeah.
And it has some of the best fight choreography I've ever seen in a movie ever. I mean, you really can't get better than that, except for like maybe maybe the movie Extraction. I texted y'all about that. A little bit of lore for the audience. I texted them about the movie Extraction and Extraction 2. Man, the fight choreography in those movies is top notch. I mean, they have one segment in the first movie that goes on like 15 minutes. And it's all one shot. Like they get in a car, they drive, and like 8 minutes of that whole scene is just them driving, trying to get away from people, and then they get out and there's like a big gunfight, and then he's like fist fighting people, and it's still all one shot, and it's so good. And in Extraction 2, they get on a train and fight like helicopters and like people who were invading the train. Chris Hemsworth, his character I don't exactly remember his name. I just know it was Chris Hemsworth. He was fighting all these people, and man, that scene went on for like 20. I want to say like 22 minutes, dude. Like, I know I'm nerding out over here over fights, but for real, like fight choreography. I mean, it's making a comeback, and like, it's really good. I love a good choreographed fight.
Me too. That's pretty much. If you think about it, it's pretty much a lot of things I watch, like JoJo. A lot of that's just fights, which I love. I love Battle Shonen so much.
Yes, I mean, Nick, don't you agree that like fighting needs to be good? Like, it can't be intercut to hell. Yeah. I mean, like, look, I am a Marvel fanboy, I will admit, but
I can tell. That's
but I mean, fuck, man, I don't like when I'm watching a movie from Marvel or a show, and they get into a fight, and the fight, like, a guy will go to throw one punch, and it cuts 3 times, and it gives you whiplash. I mean, there's so many cuts in their fights that it's like they didn't practice the fight. And so they just have them do one thing per camera shot, and they just splice it all together.
Kind of like what we do, though. I mean, we can't help it.
I mean, a little bit, but we still at least have a few seconds of us actually doing something we practiced, and then it cuts to a different angle of us doing a different thing.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to, like, that, yes. You can have cuts in your fight. You just can't have it be like Marvel, where it takes 3 shots to do one punch. It's ridiculous. Seriously. I mean, shit. But, I mean, yeah. The Guardians fight, it's really good. Extraction, really good. But there are also movies that don't require fights, that they have one-shots of them doing, like dialogue. Like Quentin Tarantino movies. I mean, I know that we're not really the biggest fans of Quentin Tarantino.
I think he's all right.
I think his movies are good. Not the best. They're good. I really like the Kill Bill movies.
He would kill you if you heard you say, my movies are the best.
He would say, listen. My movies, they're the greatest.
They're the best. Also, my lips look weird. I look like Frankenstein.
His lips
no,
look
just
weird.
kidding.
Yeah.
Red lips.
Yeah, he does have. He's a very ugly man. Let's just admit it. He is a very ugly man.
I feel bad for him. His lips, his like face, like I mean, okay. Norm Macdonald made like I don't know if it's SNL or what, but he did like a skit about him, and he was being Quentin Tarantino. He's like, "Oh, I have a huge head, and my head's so fucking big." And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of true,
Norm
I guess."
Macdonald.
But
so sad he died.
We do have to admit, when it comes to dialogue,
no,
that man, he really does know what he's doing. I mean, seriously, if you listen to some of the things his characters say, I mean, it's actual good dialogue. Like it sounds like it's a little bit of poetry, but it's still something that character, if he were to exist in the real world, it's something that he would actually say as a real person.
I think the novelty or the effect of his dialogue is lost when everyone and their mom wants to emulate it. Like every film school student nowadays, really ever since I guess the rise of his filmography, everyone wants to be Quentin Tarantino. Oh, let's have my friend Jim here, and he's gonna say, "Yo, dude, I like Cocoa Pebbles and pop culture references," and then we're gonna say "fuck" a lot, and have these long spiels and make our movie like really dialogue heavy because I Quentin Tarantino because I like him. Like we get it, you like him, but draw inspiration from somewhere else, please.
That's right.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I draw just a little bit, like maybe like 1% in some of the scripts I've written recently. I won't reveal the names of the films that I've written or anything like that, but I have written films with very heavy scenes full of dialogue. You could say that I was influenced by Quentin Tarantino, but not really, because I know what I wanted the characters to say, and they don't really go on a long spiel about like, hey, apparently back in history they did this.
And
or
hey,
that.
did you know what they fucking call a quarter pounder in France?
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah. I don't do any of that
Go for a
shit,
quarter
but
pounder.
I do have scenes with dialogue heavy stuff, and I think it works just because I try to emulate what an actual person would say. Like
I think a lot of it is just like it'll be like, So, tell me about yourself. And the other guy would be like, "Ugh," and he would just like vomit out this like paragraph of information about him.
Yes.
So it's more like an information dump
There's that.
than it does natural dialogue. But I think we've kind of improved with that. But a lot of times it's just like going on and on and on, or you just say the same thing but in different ways.
Me, I try not to write my they are characters, but I try not to write them as characters. I write them just as humans that do have emotions, that do know how to talk as a human. They know how to act as a human, and I try to make it very natural. That's what I tried in I want to say Tragedy in Cars. Tragedy in Cars. Yeah, like there wasn't really a time where me and Javi were on screen together, but during the phone call and just any scene where he would just be talking to himself, like screaming and cursing, like I literally told him, I was like, look, I didn't write dialogue for this, all right? I wanted you to just be able to do whatever you wanted. And Javi, he really did, like, he did a really good job for his character, and I think I did okay. I mean, I'm not going to suck my own dick or anything, but I'm not going to do any of that. But I do think that when it comes down to it, you really just need people to just be able to act like humans.
You need people you can trust that will have a believable and realistic portrayal, because Javi, the good thing with Javi is that he likes, I mean, he loves acting, so he's very passionate, so he's going to bring a lot of different ideas to scenes and things like that. And I just think that, I mean, he's a good choice to find like an actor who can deliver dialogue without dialogue even being in the first place, because that's just how he is.
Yes.
But I mean, and like just the way he like thinks of details, like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. It's really interesting. But I mean, you don't want to get someone who can't really act and tell them, hey, I didn't make any dialogue. You got to come up with your own. You know, it's not going to come off as natural.
Yeah, he really pulled that off.
Yeah, he really did, though. I mean, me and Jack, we were in the car with him filming. Yes. I mean, a little bit of lore behind the scenes. I was actually in the back seat every time we were filming him in his car, except for that one scene. Well, the few different cuts where the camera was placed outside of the car.
And you weren't in it.
I was not in the car. But the scenes where the camera is inside the car filming Javi, I am actually in the back seat just listening to him go off in character. And like whenever the scene was finished, he would go like, man, fuck that shit, god, fuck, and like he'd go off.
He would.
And like whenever I would say cut and he would turn the camera off, I mean, damn, like I really felt him coming out in the character, like he was definitely
character coming inside of him.
Shut up. But yes, I definitely felt that.
I know. I did too. I could feel his anger. It scared me.
Yes. You ever seen a performance like that in like a high budget movie, like something like a Clockwork Orange or anything?
Not in a movie, but I have an animation. When I was watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, it's the episode, I think it's called Beneath or Under a Sky on the Verge of Falling, something like that. It's the one where Bakio gets killed. It's right after he gets killed. Narancia and all the others are there, and Narancia's the most upset, and he's trying to figure out what happened, and he's he's in denial. He's like, no, Bakio's dead. His eyes are closed. All this stuff. He's trying to get Giorno to heal Bakio. He's really mad, but Bruno's like, no, Bakio died. We have to keep going, And there's this part where Bucciarati turns his back from all of them, and he's trying to walk off, and he's telling them to come with him, and he's biting really hard on his lip, and he's biting so hard that he's bleeding because he's trying to hold back all these emotions that he feels, because he's like all of them, he wants to be just as emotional, but he's their leader. And he knows that they have to move forward.
He's got to be stoic.
Yeah, he has to keep his composure, but he's trying to strain so hard that he's bleeding.
Have you seen another show with that kind of emotion in it?
Probably not.
I can't think of one on the top.
What about Hunter x Hunter? There hasn't been a moment like that.
Shit. I don't know. There's a few. There is one where I'd say after Gon gets he gets this kind of power boost. He makes this what's that shit called? He makes a condition that like he needs to use all of his like power, all of his nin, but it can only be used to defeat this one enemy. And he uses it, and he's not really, if I remember correctly, he's not really like happy that he's doing it. He doesn't like doing it. And I think if I remember correctly, he even he was crying too as he did it. So he didn't really enjoy doing this, but there's something he had to do.
Right.
And I like the whole arc. The whole Chimera Ant arc will make you feel things. There's another scene too that I kind of like. With this character Welfin, he's a wolf. He's a wolf Chimera Ant, and he's really fucking scared because he thinks that their king is about to like kill him because he like betrayed them. He thinks like the king found out he's about to kill him. And then Welfin, he says Komugi, and Komugi was the name of this girl who the king knew prior to losing his memory. It's a whole thing, but it was pretty interesting. I like the emotions that came from that.
What about you, Nick? You seen a
What was the question?
You seen a show or a movie where like the actor or actress performs so well you can literally like you feel like it's no longer the actor or actress, it's actually that character they're playing.
No, not off the top of my head. I can't really think of anything.
Jotaro too. After Joseph dies, and he's talking about how, like, oh, you told me not to get angry, but there's no way anyone could like hold back after seeing something like that. After seeing him get killed, that's another one I kind of like. But the one from Part 5, I mean, that episode always leaves me emotional. Like when Abakio sees another fucking scene. The scene right after Abakio dies, he goes to quote unquote heaven. He meets his old partner. Remember that? His partner's on. Yep, that really makes me emotional. I like it though. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like that a lot. A little bit of a reference there to Dumb and Dumber.
I don't like Dumb and Dumber. I know we're talking about TV shows, but I don't get the hype around Dumb and Dumber. I don't like Ace Ventura. I like The Mask though.
Why don't you like Ace Ventura?
Stupid. It's fucking. I don't like the.
Well,
fucking,
that's the point. It's stupid.
I would like it. It's just not funny. I watched the rhino birthing scene the other day, and I straight faced it the whole time. I was like,
you don't even like it when like he walks into the police station and they're like, "Hey, Ace, figure out this case," and he like smushes a bug, and then Ace is like, "First, I need to figure out a motive. So I'm guessing that the killer saw how much bigger of a dick the bug had than him, and figured he'd go and bang his wife out, doing all that, and like the police." The police like goes to punch him and he like throws him on the floor and he's like, making him go like eat the bug.
you know what's weird?
What?
That movie was like really mixed when it came out. I guess people like it now, but when it came out, Roger Ebert was like, "Fuck this movie, I'm old," and like a bunch of other people were like, "Fuck this fucking movie, this is disgusting." And a lot of people, big criticism is this one scene where he reveals that this one woman was actually trans and her penis tuck, yada yada yada. We all know what happened, but I wanted to bring it up because that was like, I didn't want to delve too much into it because I know there's there's someone with us right now who is not going to want to hear me ramble on about that forever. So I'm not going to ramble. Instead, I'm just going to say, I don't want to waste everyone's time. I'm just going to say that scene is stupid. However, However, I had to bring it up because that was the big criticism that people have with the movie. Along with them thinking like it's too vulgar, it's too raunchy, it's too nasty, it's too dumb, it's too stupid, it's too gross. And yeah, it is all those things. It is stupid, it is zany, it is weird.
Have you even seen the there's a scene in the movie where he goes to somebody's house and he's like, "Hi, I'm looking for Edward Finkler," and the guy like points a gun at him and he's like, "And a fresh set of shorts." You've never seen that?
No.
Oh my god, like I think that was one of the perfect scenes in the movie because it's so perfectly timed. It's like, "Hi, I'm looking for Edward Finkler and a fresh set of shorts."
Does he piss himself?
Yeah, no, because he like shit himself.
Oh.
Yeah.
He can't
It's-
piss
it's-
himself?
It's supposed to be that he shit
The
himself.
target audience is able to get that too. All the 5-year-olds in the audience.
Hey, come on.
No way. Hey, there's no way there are 5-year-olds in the audience.
Probably were.
That movie's about sex and stuff.
I know, man. There's
So?
like a whole sex scene in there.
You know what's weird? I just remembered. Fucking You know how we grew up watching the Terminator and stuff, and how violent and stuff it is.
Yes.
Children watch that. Like you were in like second grade, you're like, oh, the Terminator. And it's like I'm going to kill these fucking robots, or like RoboCop. It was R for adults, but children love that movie, and it's geared as like a kids movie. I don't know
like
why.
Jurassic Park. That movie is like a.
I don't know. Jurassic Park.
It's technically a horror movie, isn't it?
Well,
Horror
technically
suspense.
yes, but like the way it's always marketed to kids. 'Cause,
Yeah,
kids like
that's weird too.
dinosaurs, so-
A woman's literally holding a guy's severed arm, and they're like, get to me.
Yeah, they have whole Lego sets of that shit. Like, it just, I don't know, it doesn't make
They
sense.
should just give you that guy's arm.
When that Jaws set comes out, I'm gonna get that one.
Yes.
Fucking, I'm gonna get two.
Little bit of lore. We love Legos.
Yes, we could do a whole episode on that. Fuck
I
yeah.
hope so on Legos.
Yeah,
I'd say like a
man,
segment, but a
might
whole
as well,
episode?
man.
I mean, we can do a whole segment right now. Fuck
How
it.
long could you guys talk about Legos for?
I don't know. I mean, like,
I mean, we might as
dude,
well.
there's so many good sets. I mean, think about it. There's Jaws that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Jurassic Park set of the flipped Jeep with the T-Rex. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's such a good set. And
Yeah.
like the Mos Eisley Cantina from Star Wars.
Yes.
That is a good set. I have all of Hogwarts, like the whole castle. That shit is based. Y'all have seen it. You
Yes.
know what it looks
Yeah,
like.
it's-
It's
it's
awesome.
gigantic.
Oh, by the way, is it in your apartment?
Yes.
I thought you were trying to get rid of it.
No, I don't know, because the bookshelf I'm trying to put it on, a little bit of lore here. The bookshelf I'm trying to put it on isn't really that big, so I'm trying to figure out space for it, but it's not really working out the best. So I'm trying to figure out where I can put it. I'm still keeping all my other sets. Like, and those Avatar sets, yes.
I like those.
Dude, the Avatar sets are so good. I bought almost all of the Way of Water sets. Well, I didn't buy all of them. I was with someone who got me, I want to say 3 of the sets. Yeah,
Wow.
they got me 3 of the sets, and I got the other 2. I think there's one more to get, and I think it's the Water Village.
That's
set.
dedication, dude.
Yeah, I
Get
know.
you someone who can buy you Legos.
I know. Get you someone who will buy you Legos that they know you will like.
Yes.
like for real. Like
Oh,
I'm still
real.
looking for my Lego connoisseur. I'm
I
still
like-
looking.
I like Power
Your
Miners.
brick queen, if you will. That's
Yeah,
for
the brick queen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Okay, she kind of fell off, but we're not gonna talk about that. She
did.
She
fall
fell off on YouTube.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
Yeah.
What is she doing now?
she still does YouTube, but just not
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 as
to
good.
the same extent. She's
Oh,
dressing up as
another really good set of Legos.
Yeah.
No, it's not because I really like Marvel. They're actual good sets.
What is
The Guardians ship, the Milano.
I like it.
That is a really
I
good
like Indiana
set.
Jones. I like that one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Star
another
Star
really
Wars is
good
a
one.
classic. I like Indiana Jones. Lego is my favorite.
I like Pirates, and I hope they bring back the Wild West one someday. I like the Wild West one, Cowboys.
Why don't they do more Lord of the Rings sets? I know they're coming out with a new one.
They did Rivendell.
Yeah, but like when Lord of the Rings first came out with Lego sets, I mean, those got discontinued fast.
It's like a one and done thing. It's like with Pirates. When Pirates was doing On Stranger Tides, they made all of them, like a few based on the first 3 movies, and they made one with the 4th movie, Stranger Tides. And then what's the 5th one called? Dead Men
Tell No Tales.
They made one set, I think, for that one, which is like the Ghost Ship, and then stopped doing them.
When I was
And then
a-
Lord of the Rings, they
Oh,
did
you
Lord
finished?
of the Rings, and they did The Hobbit, and they stopped. But
oh fuck! What was I gonna say?
when you were what?
When
So
I
when
was,
I was-
let's say when I was a kid, there was something I was gonna say relating to the sets that I liked. There was a Lego.
Pirate.
Huh?
We talked Pirates.
No, it wasn't
Is
Pirates.
that it?
No, what was it? There was something that I liked. What the fuck was it?
I would always scoop up the Pirate sets when they had a new one. I was
Oh, Lego Batman.
Like
I
Batman.
learned what the word discontinue meant when I went to Disney World. After the Lego Batman sets were already made and
It
discontinued.
was like a year, I think.
I didn't
or
know.
2.
I didn't know what that. I didn't know that was even a thing. So I go there. I'm like, "Do you have Lego Batman sets?" And the guy's like, "No, we don't. We're it's actually been discontinued." And I was like, "Oh my god, that
I
was."
think
a very
it
sad-
was
They don't call it that. They call it retired.
Oh,
But
yeah,
we all know what it means.
retired. I think it was
Tired
because
of that
when we
bitch.
went and you asked for it, it was like when they were doing the Ben 10. Remember they did Ben 10
Oh,
too?
fuck that.
Yes,
The
I do.
buildable-
I actually do remember
The
that.
buildable.
No, I just kidding, I like
I
those.
don't think I ever got one.
Yeah,
but
you
I
did.
remember looking at
We each had one.
which
We
one.
went to Disney. We had the big brown guy and the blue guy.
Spider Monkey.
Wait, the blue guy, I know for sure. We have.
I,
Blue guy is Spider Monkey, right?
You're the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Spider
yeah,
Monkey.
if I
might be
remember
it.
correctly.
Does he have a new one every time? Or is it the same?
No.
It's the same alien, I think.
I think originally Ben 10 was supposed to be like his name is Ben Tennyson, but that's not why they called it Ben 10. They called it Ben 10.
It's 10 aliens.
Yeah, because he can transform into 10 different aliens, but he can only do it at like one at a time, and he has to wait for his little Omnitrix. Yeah, Omnitrix to charge up.
And you do that, and you slam your hand on it.
Yeah, he turns it, and then he slams it, and then they would do this big animation of him turning into the alien.
Wasn't his friend evil? I don't remember that show.
Kevin, yes.
Kevin.
In the original Ben 10 show, Kevin was evil, and then he comes back in the second Ben 10 show, and like he makes a comeback, and he's like better with his powers, and then he becomes a good guy. He basically goes through like a Vegeta type arc.
Remember Generator Rex?
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
I don't remember that one.
That shit
very
was so
well.
dumb.
Do you remember?
They had a crossover.
Wait, do you guys remember what was it called? Something Sunday, Saturday. The fucking. It was a family. It was a family. They all had. One of them had white hair. They had like a fucking abominable snowman. Do you guys remember that one? I think it was called like the Secret Saturdays or something.
What are you talking about?
It was the family.
With the Komodo dragon?
Yeah. Do you remember that, Josh?
The Komodo Jesse?
No,
No,
it was an
cartoon.
animated show on Cartoon Network. They were called like
Oh.
the Secret Saturdays or something. And there was this family. They had like orange and black jumpsuits. They had white hair, and they had like a white abominable snowman, I think, and like a Komodo dragon, I think.
It
as
wasn't
pet.
the Secret Saturdays. How'd you get that?
I don't know.
The
That's what it
Secret
was. Do
Saturdays,
you guys remember
was
that?
it.
Do you also remember the fucking CGI show with that little red guy named Voltar, and then the big guy, and then the other guy? Like there's Voltar, Dr. Frog. There's the other one. Do you guys remember
I
this?
faintly know what you're talking
He
about.
little red guy, he had like a mask, and he's like, yeah, he's evil and shit.
Yes.
And
I
there's
actually,
and
yeah,
there's Dr.
I know,
Frog.
I know what you're talking
I don't
about.
remember the show, but I remember there's Voltar, Dr.
Vaguely.
Dr. Frog, and then some big guy.
Vaguely.
I don't know the big guy's
Yeah,
name.
I like and
Man, there was some weird
little
shit
bit
on-
of behind the scenes lore. Like we're looking up these things.
Yeah,
Like,
because
we're
I
looking-
like vaguely remember these.
The only episode I remember with that show was I remember stuff vividly. I remember the intro had this. There was the big dumb guy, and he was like finger painting. And then there was this one episode where Voltar had like underwear, and he got stolen by this kid who had like a pet monkey, and he had like a I don't know he's some kind of accent. He was like, I don't know. It was weird. But I remember that episode vividly because he had the underwear, and you're like, "Eh, my underwear," and he fucking took it from him with his monkey friend.
man. How are you gonna, dude? These feel like fever dreams.
How do you
I
remember
swear.
all of these and their names?
I don't know.
Like
What was the Voltar one called? You just looked it up.
League of Super Evil.
Okay, I was gonna call it like the Evil League or something, but I'm like,
Oh
no,
my
that's
God.
not.
That was
basic.
pretty close.
I don't know how you remember all
yeah,
this. 'Cause,
I remember what was in it, but I don't remember. The
I don't-
full
I don't
name.
either.
I'm being serious right now. I never would have remembered any of this shit if you didn't bring it up.
You wouldn't remember Secret Saturdays
No,
ever in
no,
your life?
I mean-
never. Unless you bring it up, I'm not gonna remember
I
what the
remember
shit.
what it was about.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the name of it. Or
Remember GarageBand?
Yes, I do remember
I didn't
GarageBand.
like
Actually,
GarageBand. I hated GarageBand.
every
It was
episode was the same, bro.
It was annoying.
They
I
would
hated
they would
GarageBand.
anger the sister. She would write in her diary a little bit, and then they anger her sister, his sister again, and then at the end of the episode, they would set up this
GarageBand.
big concert, and the sister would like start writing in the diary. Then she would drop the diary, and he would like catch it, and then he'd make a song
Yeah.
about like what was happening in the diary.
That was the
you
big
guys
thing.
remember 16? Remember that
16?
show?
I remember 16.
No, I don't know.
16.
Yes,
that.
you do.
It was,
There was
it was made by the. I think it was the same people who did Total Drama.
They were in a mall. They were
Yeah.
the teens. There was Jonesy, Nikki. I don't remember anybody
Jude.
else. Jude was voiced by the guy who voiced Chris McLean from Total Drama.
I remember that.
He was like, "Hey,
And
dude."
he was blonde.
He was blonde. It was kind of like edgy because they made like
Yeah, that was also. It was kind of like iCarly. It was another.
it was
teen
like
show.
it was like Total Drama. It was more towards teens and children.
Yeah.
There's another show I wanted to mention that I just thought of. You guys, it was on I think it was on a different network. Oh, do you guys remember that show Kick Buttowski?
Yes.
Kick Buttowski.
I thought about
Kick
that. I thought about
Buttowski.
that the other day. I used to watch that when I was a kid on Disney XD. I used to watch that. That
Do you
shit-
remember My Roommate is a Monkey? Or is
My
it
My
Gym
gym partner.
I
My Gym
remember-
Partner
My
is a
Gym Partner's
Monkey?
a
That one
Monkey.
freaked. That one
Yes.
made me
I
uncomfortable
liked
when I
that
watched
one
it.
as a kid.
I didn't like that
What
one.
about was it Clone High?
Clone High.
We weren't
They
around
have
for
that
Clone
new.
High.
They have
huh?
that new. They have that new one too. Okay, speaking of TV shows, I've got one that I would recommend to everybody,
Yeah.
including people listening right now. It was a really incredibly short-lived cartoon on MTV called 3 South. 3, the number 3, South, like the geographical location. And it was a cartoon about this big guy and this little guy, big guy named Sanders, or was it Sander? Sanford. The little guy's name is Dell, and they go to college, and it's this really shitty community college, and they have a roommate named what's his name?
I don't know.
What was his name? Name
I'm not trying to.
Joe. His name was Joe,
Okay.
and they live in this dorm, and he's like the smart, kind of know-it-all douche, just trying to get a good education, and these guys are just idiots, and it's just so funny. And they live in the dorm, and their RA is this albino guy named Todd, who's like really wimpy, and people think he's a girl. That's like the running gag, and it's really funny. And the dean is fun fact. The dean is voiced by what's the name of that bald guy with the glasses? He was King Neptune in the SpongeBob movie. That guy's the dean in this show.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
it's really funny. It's like it was a
Cross?
really short show. No, not David Cross.
Oh.
It was a really short show. They just do all kinds of weird shit. There's not really much. It's just like regular college level, college plots that you get into, but it's really funny. And I like its art style. It kind of reminds me of the what's it called? Far Side comic. Cow Tools. So it
Cow
reminds me of.
tools.
But it's not that guy. It's
I have
someone
one
else.
of the Far Side things. My grandmother gave it to me as a gift.
You know what show I really like?
What?
What?
I'm pretty sure y'all can agree with me on this.
What?
Regular Show.
Yes.
Regular
Show.
show was so good, bro.
It
I
is.
swear, dude.
That was like the dude show.
If y'all if y'all go on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever the fuck you're on, and you see a meme of Regular Show where it's like Benson says, Mordecai and Rigby, go buy me one bottle of Coke from the store.
Yeah.
And then it says like 5 minutes later and it looks like the world is ending. I promise you, those memes are true.
They're very
They're
Absolutely.
very accurate. I mean, seriously, these guys got into the wildest shenanigans on the show.
When the sky would turn purple, that's when their shit was about to go crazy.
Exactly.
Like Vincent will be like, "Hey, go set up the chairs," and then, of course, they don't do it, and because they slack off, they fucking have to deal with these giant ass, demons like the arcade machine.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember
the
that
arcade
because
machine was
they were
live.
told to go. They were told to go set up the chairs, and of course, where the chairs are, there's something for them to slack off and go do whatever the fuck. And then they end up playing a video game that comes alive, and they have to they have to go fight it with another video game. Of course.
Do you guys think there's some kind of message in that? Like, if you try to, stray away from your responsibilities and stray away from what you're supposed to
Good
do,
point.
something bad will
Because
happen.
every time something bad would happen, they never
because they're
learned.
slacking off.
Seriously,
a
like
good point.
there was never a time where there was like an actual normal episode.
I don't think there was.
Like every episode,
I mean, like, okay, I could think of one right now.
what?
The one where the Christmas episode where Mordecai stops wanting to get with Margaret and is finally content with being with CJ.
That one wasn't normal.
And yeah, it was.
No, it had like supernatural stuff.
No, what was supernatural in it?
He was like seeing different versions.
No, that was because of the shards in the glass.
Shut
that
up.
was real life. Okay, basically,
I know what you're talking
The disco
about.
ball gets fucked up in the punch bowl, and there's a bunch of shards everywhere, and he sees her in them. But that's not like weird or anything weird happening. The weird part is just how like uncomfortable it kind of makes him. And then he kisses Margaret, right? Yeah, he kisses Margaret,
Yeah.
and then CJ sees it and runs off, and then the whole love triangle thing, which I thought was kind of interesting as a kid.
And then isn't that episode is literally called Merry Christmas, Mordecai?
Yeah.
Because at the very end, when CJ sees him kissing Margaret, she says Merry Christmas, Mordecai, and like runs off and like leaves him alone. And
at least she said it to him before.
and I
he-
think it was either the next episode or a few episodes later. Mordecai actually tries to get back with CJ, and like Margaret keeps calling him on his phone, and like CJ keeps like misunderstanding and thinking that they're together and she's being played. And I mean, Now I see. There are a few episodes where there is regular stuff, but all in all, the episodes are never normal.
Yeah.
Like the episodes are
Right.
there's always some weird shit happening, and I gotta admit, season 8, that was the last season, right? Season 8.
I think so.
Season 8 where they go to space, not the greatest. Just gonna
Not
say
the
it.
worst. It wasn't terrible, but it just.
I don't like that one. I always, don't rewatch it. I watched it the first time when it all aired, and then I didn't watch it after.
I think with season 8, a lot of the episodes I kind of just skip to the end mostly. Like when they start to bring in anti-pops and like he becomes an actual big villain throughout the end. I kind of start from there because I'm like I pretty much know what happened. They
I don't know.
have the same kind of adventures but in space.
Stuff like that where it's like a small show and then it's like all over the place and then I'm like, okay, whoa, back up. This is too much. I think it worked for like Adventure Time, which I always kind of see them as sister shows because they kind of came out near the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But Adventure Time, that was the point of the show. It was all about lore and building on from the history of like the nuclear fucking nuclear. What am I? Nuclear. I fucking hate when people say nuclear. Don't you hate that? Anyways,
It's pronounced nuclear.
the mushroom bomb thing. But that was the point of the show. You build off from it. Are they on Earth? Are they not? What are they on? You never, you have to
They're
watch
not
and find
they're
out.
not on Earth. They're on the land of Ooh.
You gotta find out.
Isn't it
But-
spelled like O?
Ooh.
Ooh, the land of Ooh.
Dude, I fucking remember when me and Nick, a little lore for you guys. But when me and Nick would go to this little fucking cabin in like northern Louisiana during the summer and stuff, they didn't have cable in one of the houses, but the other one did. And when we went there one time, for some reason on repeat, they kept playing this DVD of Adventure Time of like the first or second season. 'Cause that's all that was like out at the time.
Mhm.
So it's like the second season of like Jake and like, oh yeah, man, dude, and Finn, Jake, I am mathematical, all that fucking shit for like 2 hours, and I was like half asleep. I was like, ah, and then one of my cousins like sat, like when you're a kid and like an adult like pretends to sit on you, like, oh yeah, that's what fucking happened. And then that's the first time in my life. You know how when you're falling in a dream and you like almost fall in something and you launch yourself up?
Yes.
That's what happened to me. I was about to fall in this bed of spikes and I went and I launched myself up on the couch.
We getting a little too off topic.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's
No,
fine.
it was related to Adventure Time.
But seriously, like Adventure Time, it actually was a really good show. I did enjoy it. What was the Lich?
The Lich King.
Yes, that was the one where he was like a goat skeleton.
Yeah,
guy.
like a wizard,
yeah,
like a lich.
and who was the big blue guy that
Billy.
he worshipped? Yeah, Billy.
Billy the hero.
Billy the hero, yes. And I remember it was a big fucking twist when it turned out Billy was the Lich.
That blew
I
my mind.
actually did not expect that at all.
I remember that came out. I taped it. Yeah, this was back when you would use the VCR to tape stuff on television.
do it now, buddy.
Nobody does it anymore. unless
Nobody
you're, like,
really doesn't. No.
70. But I remember doing that, coming home and watching it in the living room, and that came on whenever it was revealed that it was the Lich disguised as Billy, and he'd been dead. I was like, what the fuck? And then, oh man, I know everything was all good in the end, but when the Farm World Finn, of course there's the alternate universe Finn, whenever him and the Farm World Jake, the real dog Jake, he can't transform, he's just a regular little puppy, and he gets in the goop and becomes the Lich and becomes little and dies, that was so sad.
That was.
I felt
really
so bad
sad.
for him, but I mean, I think it was okay in the end, right? Like it was all back to normal. But I felt so bad for the little puppy Jake at that time, and Finn because he was going crazy with the crown.
Remember how
there was just so much to take in.
Remember they
that
fucking found Finn? He shat himself and was on a leaf.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he was a baby.
They didn't call it shit though. They said it was a boom boom.
A boom boom.
Yeah.
It was a boom boom, and they literally showed like how in comics they have like a big star and it says boom.
Yeah.
They showed that on his ass, and then he fell on a leaf and got stuck to it. And like Jake's parents were like, "Oh my, look at this!" And they were like, "Okay, yeah, we're just gonna take this human in and raise him with our dog children."
That's got to be a metaphor for something. Shitting yourself on a leaf and being found by two dogs. It's got to mean something.
Two shape-shifting dogs.
Two shape-shifting
Wait,
dogs.
his parents could shapeshift, right?
I assume
Or-
so.
Wait, no, they couldn't.
What? Oh, they didn't get in the. Jake rolled around in like a goop or something. That
Yeah,
movie.
Jake.
Never
Jake
mind.
rolled.
Yeah.
I remember Jake telling a story. He rolled around in like magic mud, and then he all of a sudden just got powers. And they never really revisited that. They just let it be like one little thing where it's like, how come you can stretch? Oh, I rolled around in magic mud,
That's
and then
it.
suddenly I could do it.
They also did that with that episode where when he was with Lady Rainicorn, when her parents were coming over and they delved into the lore and they were like, "Oh, I don't hate," because he was like pretending to be a unicorn because he didn't want them to hate that he was a dog, and the dad was like, "Oh, we don't hate that you're a dog because a dog saved my life in the dog unicorn war." And then
fucking remember
they
that.
dropped that right there, and they're like, "Okay, that's
They
all you're gonna
dropped
hear
it.
about it."
Oh my
Like,
god!
we brought it
Man.
up. That's it.
Yeah.
I feel like one more show we can talk about, just one, is definitely
What?
The Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah.
Let's just throw that out there right now, dude. The Amazing World of Gumball, it was so good.
It was.
I
It's so
love the
funny.
art style. I love how it's supposed to be like a realist thing. Like all the buildings, I know that they're all CGI. I know they are.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they look real but still have cartoon characters in there, as well as Sussy was a human chin.
I like to see
A human chin puppet, and then they had like Clayton, which was a ball of clay, and it looked like it was claymation. And then they had Bobbert, who was just like a robot.
CG robot.
And then they had that 8-bit guy.
I think his name was Ocho. The spider.
Yeah, Ocho, the 8-bit guy. He was cool, and I just love that the mixture of animations in it. It kind of makes it unique.
It does. I've never seen a show that combines so many different.
I
art styles
really
like that
love
before.
how, when you watch it at first glance, you think that the cartoon style means that it's for children, but the dialogue is smart and witty enough for adults.
It really is.
I know, and the show is actually made in Europe.
Yep.
And you can really tell because like the voice actors sometimes they'll speak in an American accent because they're in America, but they'll say such British words for American
yeah, they'll
things.
say phone.
They'll say, "Oh, I phoned you," or like literally instead of literally.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
I didn't know that Alan was British.
Alan-
the balloon?
He
Yes.
is.
I
I think
thought-
Nicole is. I know the hot dog guy is British.
Nicole Gumball's mom being British
dude.
blew my mind, man.
Because didn't okay, there was an episode where Gumball and the hot dog guy, they were like really awkward around each other.
Yes.
And they ended up in like a stall. Didn't the hot dog guy call it a cubicle?
Yeah,
They
he
did.
called this the stall a cubicle. Is that a thing?
That's got to be like a
That's
British
gotta-
or
yeah,
European.
that's gotta
thing.
be a
I was gonna say, 'cause I've
European
never
thing.
heard
No one in
that.
America calls a stall a European.
Yeah.
We barely even say cubicle for an actual cubicle.
Because you have the stall and the urinal.
exactly
You don't
like
say, "Oh, the cubicle in the urinal."
yeah, like Americans barely say the word cubicle for an actual cubicle, like an office cubicle. We just say office, even if it doesn't mean like an actual office with a door that can close. Like
Like that's just
America mostly just says office because it's a desk where you work.
when you hear office, you think of like I think of a cubicle. It's the first thing I think of, and that's usually what people mean.
Yeah, but all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap that up here. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Nick and Jack for talking with me about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will see all of you next time. Bye bye. I found the movie Shark Tale appealing, and I appeared in there.